We are meeting at Laura and Bernie Atherton's house on Gebby Road. Present are John Allen, Bernie and Laura, Dorothy. Laurette and Ida come a little later, and Donald comes about an hour later as John Allen leaves.
Then of course, these are just a few things that
So what was the pageant?
Well, I couldn't say too much of that. I thought maybe that if Robert was here, he might know. But years back, there was a pageant put up at the lake. I know they put the seats up, and I can remember the boat coming in on the lake, and I think East Crestbury was in with it too, because I remember they had the lights. And I think there was something, probably Mrs. Jean or something.
Well, pageants were of the age because they had a big pageant in Crestbury that I was in as a child too. So pageants were.
But I know they enacted the two sleepers when they were massacred by the Indians, you know. That was amusement on it. And
Oh,
so
they acted that out?
acted that out. And it was all done by line. And then while it was the lake, of course, I remember that the fire companies, Greensboro and Hardwick, always for 4 or 5 years, had a regular big fair there.
Well, that's quite recent compared
And that
to...
is recent. Anybody would know that.
Yeah.
But while I'm at the
But
lake,
the fairs were another way of entertainment because Bernie remembers as a child haying and working hard, and then the whole family met and went to Barton Fair. I mean, that was part of the.
Oh, yeah.
You used to go for the horse and
With
buggy.
a Surrey, you know.
Leave about 6
That
o'clock
and
in
a
the morning.
Surrey.
You bet.
Say two-seated, and we'd took this route, the back road, and
Yeah.
so we'd generally meet out by Parker Lake or somewhere.
Yeah.
Because Aunt Katie's folks down the Crestbury and Charlie, they'd meet us up there.
Yeah.
And we'd go out through, I know.
Well, we always went
And
in
Dad was
19.
always planning on letting us have one day
Yeah.
off. Give
The
us
fair.
How much money did he give you to
You
spend that day?
well,
We
probably
got 50 cents.
Couple dollars. Huh?
Would go a lot farther then than it does
Be
now.
5 cents
But
on
we'd
the
have to-
ground.
we'd have to pull kale for center roll.
On that. We earned it, didn't we, Bernie?
We'll earn it.
So you get the whole
Well,
day off, or do you have to do
no.
chores?
Oh, it
and
had
all?
Had to have the whole
We had
day
to
off.
show us before we left, see. Then we wouldn't get home at night till probably around 6, 7
That's
o'clock.
right.
We'd do them after we got home.
That's right.
But
We-
and in the meantime, you had to ride a horse and buggy or
Yeah.
Surrey all
We
the way
Surrey,
from
right
Crestbury up to
Right,
Barton.
back.
The back
That's a
and
long
back.
ride,
Well,
isn't it?
Sure it is.
Well, yeah, it is.
They'd
But
be, you see, there was Mother and Dad, and Roy and Perron, and Vera and I.
And that's the only.
I wish you had a picture of that old Surrey. That was.
boy, we
Were
had
pretty
a
elegant
shot
in
boy.
those
They
days.
were a great thing.
So
We
it
had
wasn't
one
too
too.
long ago.
Let
It
it
was
go.
still hanging over in the old barn, horse barn over there.
Mhm.
You
The top was
see,
there, I know.
the way we'd go right up Baker Hill, over here, up Baker Hill. And at that time, it's what they call Lumsden Swamp. You went down beyond the buildings and turned down, go up toward the Willie Masses, up in that area. But there used to be a road went right straight through that swamp and come out at the Four Corners up by Lewis Hill. Then we go right by Lewis Hill, right by Shatner's, and come right out at the head of Runaway Pond.
Yeah.
So you actually went over that road where Larry Lumsden lives now, you went up there and then you cut
No,
through?
no, we went right up Baker Hill.
Baker Hill, that's where the
That's-
Grays live.
Well, you went over sort of by Sherry,
Baker Hill
Grace.
is this
Yeah.
hill right here, you know,
Okay.
where George Hill is.
Yeah, so you had to go up that.
No, we didn't go by George Hill. No, when you get down where you from Salisbury, you go up straight and you go right up
Right by Paul Massey's.
Pond. Yeah, we went right up.
Oh.
Or there's a
Right by
road,
Paul.
no, there's a road
Yeah, it
right
comes
from there, right out through it,
to
and
Lumsden.
giving up now.
It's oh yeah. So we
You
didn't
take
go
that
that way.
road and come
No,
right
we
out
came
and-
right up what they call Baker Hill.
Yeah,
Right up Baker Hill,
yeah.
and just out beyond that, where you turn the stone walls, where Willis Lumsden used to live.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that road is just as straight as a string.
Mhm.
It used to be one of the
Right.
old schoolhouses
By
in there.
Shatner's, yeah.
And went right out by Shatner's.
I was
where
gonna
Howard
ask you about
Commodore-
that because I can remember, John, since we come here about an old building here, that schoolhouse
There
there.
was.
Yeah, we skipped that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
used to go up after church, see my father's folks.
Yeah.
We used to take a little hay and we'd leave church after church is over and we'd put up our lunch and we'd go and take the horse and take it out and hitch it right in there by that schoolhouse. And the kids used to go and run around that old building. We'd eat our dinner there and then we'd go up to...
That's another
Yes, sir.
entertainment, you see. There were a lot more visiting of relatives and
Oh,
friends
yes.
on
they're
Sundays.
all
Yeah.
around.
I'm telling
So
you.
Not just
Sunday,
Sunday, any
yeah.
day in the week.
Yeah,
apparently.
any-
No,
Back-
no,
Yeah.
not really. Saturday afternoon, especially with our Scotch
Mm-hmm.
people. Really, Sunday started at Saturday noon. I know the Tolmans will go up to Campbell's and they go to every Young's folks, the Youngs, see
But
Mr.
there was a
Young
lot
and
of
Mrs.
visiting.
Tolman. They would visit. Everybody went visiting. We'd go up to my grandfolks.
And now, no one seems
Nobody
to do
seemed
that.
to visit
Don't
at
have
all.
time.
Well, that's true.
We think-
And
That's
then,
true.
as
That's
I
true.
told
we don't-
Willie,
Take time
you're
to-
afraid if you're retired and don't really have to earn a living anymore,
Yeah.
you don't bother other people by, you know.
Up in North Greensboro was Mr. and Mrs. Ritchie. They were pretty classy
Yeah.
there, you know.
Yeah.
What was her name? Mrs. Jarlin. They said she wore the pants up there, and I guess she did because soon after
Mrs.
she
who?
died.
Javin?
Jardin, it was his mother.
Jardin, J-A-R, yeah.
Yeah, Jardin.
Javin.
I've heard that
She's the
name.
one that wore the pants up there now. Of course, that was another
A lot of women
place.
wore the pants in those days,
They-
but they did, you wouldn't have known it from not being able to,
No, but
to
they,
vote and all that, but the women were
yeah,
really,
You take, they were much like Mr. Ingalls is down here. They had the driving horse and the red sleigh that his father made.
Oh, gosh.
And he had his robes and they were
Hang
all
right down on
hang right
the
on
snow.
the back, right
all
on the
back,
snow.
I mean, you know.
And the riches were just like that. You go to the band and they're all dressed up and I guess a little bit too much.
That's
So
why they made
after
an
the old lady
awful,
died,
awful
the thing
mistake
went,
in this town.
they kind of went to pieces.
what?
Right up that fella.
Oh, yeah.
Will Ingalls,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Johnny Black.
yeah, I know. You heard about the story with John? Of course you have.
What?
Mrs. Pleasance, you know,
Yeah.
was out on the.
Oh,
About-
sure.
yeah.
You heard that?
Yeah.
It fit.
It fit.
Johnny Black.
Johnny Black.
Yeah,
That's the sweater.
Yeah. They were just like it.
a man, a few words.
You know what that black swamp was sold for, John?
Huh?
You know what black swamp was sold for the
No,
first time it ever
No,
bought?
no.
You remember George Marshall?
Oh, yeah,
He used to work for Ned Kaiser
Oh,
when
yeah.
he lived up where George Hill lives.
that's right.
George told me that Black's Point, and then it ran up as far as the road down there by,
Grace, you mean?
no, down foot the hill from the lodge there.
Right.
It went up as far as, across the road, you know, where the road, up as far as right there, and then the other way, right the other side of where the creamy ice shells used to, I guess that wasn't here when you was there, but anyway, the other way towards the village, right in there, where those camps are, and it went as far as there.
Where the Perron, right across from Perron?
Yeah, right in there. And when that was first sold, it was sold for $1,000. That whole point and everything.
When you just think when Otley, you remember Baker's down here when that.
Oh, sure.
From Maple and Otley,
Sure.
Hardwick, put a
Yeah.
mill in there, steam mill and lumbered that
Oh, I
whole
remember
thing.
that. Yeah.
And that land with the Huntingtons, when they had it, and I imagine with Baker too, that all went to that, on the shore of Caspian Lake. Of course, they bought out there, but when these two women, rather maids that come, you know, they had their chauffeur, which was Pinkham. He stayed down down at the hotel, and they bought practically all that through there. And I heard my dad, well, we used to be down there. I think that you could buy, I'm positive it wasn't over $2.75 an acre. You could have bought that whole damn
Well, George Marshall, you see, was the one that told me on this at time worked the road. He said Johnny Black bought that, and the first lot he sold for $1,000 off from it.
Oh, Johnny Black bought the whole parcel.
The whole parcel, yeah.
Okay.
And then he sold one
started
lot,
selling lots.
and then he sold the first lot. He sold for $1,000.
I ran into a book
Now,
and
how-
that's just on one.
Just
They never had children, the Blacks.
He never married.
No,
Never
Johnny
married.
Black
Johnny
was
Black
never
wasn't
married.
married.
no.
It was the one that looked.
Jimmy Black,
Jimmy.
never
Jimmy
married.
Black.
And he was
But they
never
had
married.
no children.
They had no
They had
They
children.
had no children.
And that's.
And
the
they were
Barton.
both probably as well off as any people in town, the
that's
both of
right.
them. You know, they were
Carry his
very,
money around, you know, these overalls, well, they didn't wear the pants, and just these overalls with the strap. He'd go around, you know, with a roll that big. And this pocket here was safety pin on it. My God.
I remember
Yep.
down there going down to Amsden, we used to pick up some feed there. And he never had a say for just until recently possibly, but when I was a kid, we used to go in there and Dad would get a bag of feed or something, hauling down coming home. And had always wore a vest, nothing much more but a vest. But that vest inside, he had a big pocket made. And I have a pocketbook just exactly what he had. It's when you flip
Yeah.
over, you know, them crosses.
Yep.
You go get change, he'd take out his pocketbook and put that out, packed full, 50s, 100s, right straight. Well, I bet that man carried
Oh.
So he
$15,000
made all
and
this money
$2,000,
selling
right?
the
And
land?
it's a wonder.
He made all his money selling the land?
No,
No, he was a grain dealer down there, just the same as Barrington.
Have the band.
Barrington.
What's his name, Evanston?
Amsden, Frank Amsden. Yeah. But I always thought
But
this
they didn't
funny.
think much of banks in those days.
No, he didn't.
No.
Now, Johnny, I've seen a picture of a couple sitting in front of that Black's farmhouse.
Yeah.
Is that Johnny Black's parents?
His mother probably taught, because his mother was there with him for
Okay.
a long time, because I can remember his mother there,
Okay.
and then,
And his
because-
father had died,
yeah, his father.
so it must have been a picture, maybe him and his mother or something.
Because after his mother died there, I know that, well, it was 1918 that, 3 summers that I worked for Jimmy Black over here haying. And we'd always do his haying, then I told Johnny to come up to help over here, you see. Then we'd go down there and help down there. Well, Johnny would always get the dinner. Judas Priest, you know, chicken pie and then he'd always have, what's that kind of cake, you know, that dark cake
Some
with
here that I made.
whipped cream on top.
Gingerbread?
Gingerbread cake,
Yeah.
yeah. With the whipped cream on top, and of course he kept 2 or 3 cows, you see. He was a good cook.
And not only that, but he was a good housekeeper. You said his
Very
floors were
good
scrubbed.
Oh,
You
I'm telling
could,
you.
he was
Why,
so
his
clean.
floors in there, don't you know, there was old
Boards.
soft wood floors, just white as could be.
Boy,
Yeah. He was a.
Well, he lived alone. He didn't have any kids to mess up things.
no.
With
But
houses.
Did he?
it's
Good
neat.
old fellow.
No,
He's the
but
one
it's
that
just
told
as
me
neat
about
as
this
could be.
road here and about the schoolhouse being down here, see.
Okay. Now, Johnny Black is like a generation older than you, like your parents' generation?
I like my parents way
Yeah,
back.
same with
So
mine.
you remember him as a grown-up?
But when we
you
used to
were
saw a wood drag saw, some way we moved from our place over to Draper's, and we usually moved over to Black's. Bruce Young used to help him a lot, and I helped him 1 or 2 days. And when I worked in the creamery, he used to bring his cream down. He didn't have too much, but he brought it down. And Mr. Messer come up from Montpelier one time, and he said, "Want to know about Mr. Black?" He said he was balling his bookworks all up. He said he isn't cashing his creamery checks. And so Mr. Bates said when he comes in sometime, he says, "You just tell me," and he says, "I'll come up and speak to him." So he came up and and he spoke to Mr. Black. He says, "You got them creamery checks that you've been getting?" "Oh yeah," he said, "they're up there back at the clock." So Mr. Willie,
That's
so
just
Bill,
like him.
Mr. Bill, Mr. Bates says, he says, John will be up sometime. He didn't want to really bring him down, so I went up. Sure enough, I was that clock, and I bet, honest, he had 25 to 30 of his creamery checks. And then he just opened them, and he thought of spending them. They're all
He
right
didn't
back
have
in that
all
clock.
two
Ain't that just like it?
Yep, just like him.
So he released some of them, because of course they weren't too big, but it did make it
Yeah.
kind of mean, you know, and he's figuring out.
It must be they didn't have the rule then, if you don't cash them within a certain time, they outlaw.
Well, I guess, I don't know, maybe they won't,
But
but
see, pastured his cows there on the point. And as you go up that road right by between the buildings there, there was a gate there. And until the last few years there, had it fixed. You had to get out of the car
Yeah.
and open the gate,
Yeah.
and then go up and stop your car and then close the gate. But then the last of it, they fixed the rope so that you could pull it once it's on the gate and swing up there. But the summer people, their camps weren't, fenced in or anything. The cows wandered around there everywhere.
There was a
Well,
lot of pasture on the
there's one
point.
other thing
Huh?
is
There was a
rather,
lot of pasture on the point.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They've
Because
got a
now
lot
it's
of
all
pasture.
trees, it's all
Yeah.
woods.
Well, of course, then there's started to build it up, don't you know? You take it, that Parker
That's
to,
right.
St. John's, right?
no, well, New Hampshire
Littleton,
they was,
Littleton.
Littleton there, he built there early, and
Parker
then,
Holmes.
take
Huh?
Holmes, Parker.
drug
Holmes
business.
Parker, his last name's
Yeah.
Parker.
they're the druggists from New Hampshire. weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunset
And
Point,
then there was,
or Sunset Cottage or something.
Clara parked there from, Barry. I can't think of his name. He was one of the first ones that built down in the Boyne. Then you see the Pleasants and the Days there, they all built in there.
Yep.
So,
I never went in there much, but I do.
Yeah.
The opinion that the townspeople had of the summer people in those days, because they were really high and mighty, like Mrs. Pleasance, you know.
Yeah.
My father worked for her.
Yep. That's
And
true.
when she didn't want to be disturbed, you know, she wasn't very polite about it. She just would hang this on the door, do not disturb, and if you disturbed her, you got it, you know. And she had this
Well,
colored chauffeur, and she
Oh,
really
yeah.
splashed around. And really, they thought we were nothing but servants.
more or less,
Yeah, we were
They were
servants.
different. Honest,
it's
to be
different
frank,
today.
I think there's more wealth around the lake. I know there was back then than there is today. You'll be surprised. I'll bet when you have a fourth of these folks I know, this is their home, and where they go back to teach and so forth. That's why they rent. Now, for instance, there was the Tarrells. And boy, they were a splashy couple, but you got to hand it to them. They done a lot for this town.
Oh, yeah.
A lot for this town. But they'd come in with their chauffeur, and Sunday they'd drive the limousines up Packards and the whole works, and they'd take quite a while getting down to church and greeting everybody, but they'd load them up. Then come along Mrs. Pleasance with her chauffeur. I got the toolbox that he had with his Lyle's got it. I didn't want to sell it to him, but I got the toolbox. It's the funniest because of the funny of the latch on it. And they come, and the Pleasants would all get in, and then they go. Then there was Pinkham down there.
yeah,
He'd come up and pick up them two maids,
Yeah.
and they must have made some money because they bought that whole area through that Bar Hill, the whole works, where that camp is up there. They had to make some money. And I know Utley said he'd sell the whole damn business for $2.75 an acre. That was after he got it lumbered. Then,
So the Pinkhams are the ones who sold it to the Black?
no, not Pinkham, he was the chauffeur.
Oh.
But I would assume, I don't know, I should know
Who
these
I
maids.
don't know who
John
No,
Black.
I don't know who
Who
Black ever bought it up, because that'd be way
I don't.
The records of that's all burned.
But I do know,
See,
the
back
record of
then.
that, but I do know, I've heard Baker, Ed Baker, that's someone I want to look up, because that's on our map, one of the
It's
earliest
Baker
maps
Hill.
we have, it's Baker.
Sure.
And the Huntingtons were there before the Bakers.
Uh-huh.
They sold it up to Bakers. And that land all through there was clear down to the lake shore. It was all in that Baker farm and the Huntington
That
place.
would be-
And,
Graves, I
so they bought, and then we had a
remember.
Catholic priest, which lived over in front of, well,
Shatney's.
young Shatney's.
Yeah,
And boy, he had a lemon of a big car, it was all enclosed, everything just to
Catholic
a
priest?
Catholic priest. He, of course, they went to the band.
I remember in 1920 when I went to work for the Scoons, and I went down for an interview. And Mrs. Scoon informed me that I wouldn't be eating with the family. And I'm telling you,
No.
that puts you in your place, because around here, everybody
But
was equal.
Even the
And-
hired help were. They
Yeah.
weren't in some places, but I know the cooks.
Yeah, yeah.
As a rule, the big ones would hire
You
somebody and
cooked,
they
you
put them
stayed
before
in,
the kitchen.
you had your
Sometimes they
quarters. Although,
But-
after a while, I was, the Scoons always came to our house when they left. I
Oh,
fed them in the
yeah.
morning, and
I
John ran away from Princeton, came up to our house and stayed, and I
Yeah.
wasn't a maid anymore. But it
No.
was after I left
Yeah,
working
there
for
was
them.
that. Oh, there's another couple too, who used to come and stay at the hotel. Boy, were they a classy. Williams. Boy, she was dolled up. They would always wait till the towels had got settled up in front of the church, and just about as they were striking the first hymn, in would come he and his wife with all the dogs. I think their names were Williams. Anyway, they stayed at the hotel. So it was quite a lot of splash.
Yeah. Well, you
Sunday
see,
morning.
Mrs. Scoon was the daughter of Princeton president. And they had all kinds of maids, and all she had to do was to help her mother entertain the. And they always, until I worked there, they always had brought the colored maid with them.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
Langlands.
And they were already in the cottage at
A
the
lot
head
of
of the
them in
lake?
colored
What?
maids.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
already at the cottage at the head of the lake then?
no, we were up at Cedar Rock at the head of the
Yeah,
lake, and
yeah.
they, you know where the Spoon Cottage is now? Yeah,
That's where they were.
yeah. And her father and mother, the president of Princeton, they were killed in an automobile accident while I was working for them. It happened in the summertime, and John, I remember him, he was, you know, a teenager, and he got into all kinds of trouble, and he would
He went
come to
work
me
in
and ask me to help him get him out of it, you
one
know.
time, bunch
And
of
I
them
did,
over there.
and we became very good
You
friends.
know, and raised a deuce in it.
I remember Mr. Schoon invited me to eat with her when she wasn't there. He would say, do you want to, and I did once or twice, and sometimes I didn't, but, you
You knew where
knew
your
your place,
place was,
yeah,
you
you knew,
done
and
right.
that was something new for us.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody up in this country were equal, no matter whether you had any money or you didn't.
Well, that was still
Every-
going on in the 30s when I worked
Yeah.
around there. And,
Yeah.
you know, it was
About
still
every
like-
Thursday that the colored maids, there was enough of them then that around the lake so that
They'd all get together.
all get together on
Their
Thursday.
days off.
Thursday was day off. That's
Yeah.
the day you
I
had
don't
your
know how
church
many
suppers.
times that they came up to Cedar Rock and had hired me to the double team, the hayride. And they'd take girls, get their feed, don't you know, and we'd take them down, I'd take them down to
The day
the
farm.
day farm and take them up there
Ellicott.
on the hill, don't you know. And they'd cook there and they'd have a wonderful feed and sing. Oh my God, those colored, oh boy, that was one honest. They was just, boy, some of them could sing. You know.
But you know, it was, I
Oh,
remember
gosh.
at that time where a colored person, it was something you turned around and looked at. I mean, they were so
Oh.
scarce that,
Well, they're scarcer now.
yeah, but somehow
that
your
bunch,
television
by gosh,
fixes
gracious.
that, you know.
Yeah.
But in those days,
Oh, we've
well,
come
you
a
just
long
wondered
ways.
who they were, you know, they
Come
were
a
just
long ways.
curiosity.
Yeah, but that bunch, I don't know, they
They were pretty nice.
were, all of them, were darn nice. They were to be anyway.
It's interesting that none of them stayed. You know, usually when you get a group
Oh.
like that, somebody stays, settles, and
Oh, well, they were maids
Yeah.
and chauffeurs and
Chauffeurs.
the working class, and you see, like the Schoons anyway, when the war started, everything changed. They either couldn't get the help, and I guess that may have been it. They couldn't get the help, or they didn't have the money to support that kind of a life.
Just
I
changed
don't
the
know,
whole
it changed
social
the,
system.
Kinda
the war,
changed
changed
around
the
there.
whole
They
thing.
hired more people from
around here.
around here.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, your high school girls and
Yeah.
your young women.
But it
I mean,
all
there's
changed.
summer work every summer.
Because there's another thing that changed that too. Because I can remember when the first Jew bought down here. And oh boy,
Yeah,
Well, that's in where the
people in
ice
town.
house was.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep,
know.
the people in
Well,
town here, oh brother.
I know.
Oh,
Was
He
it the
was-
local people or the summer people?
Huh?
Well,
Local people.
local
Just
Local
different
people.
circles, it
Yes.
was
I can
summer.
tell you who he is. He was
Right
the one
from
that wrote
Barry.
the clothing
Yes,
department right
right
down
from
in
Barry.
Barry.
Nice
He's the
guy,
one
sure.
that-
Mazel.
Yeah,
Yep.
and he's,
Yep.
yes. I used to
Oh,
go down
boy,
there and
that
get my
made an
clothing
awful
with the
and it was
clothing
just
board.
around
because he
here.
was a Jew. Not,
Yep.
I don't know.
Didn't he just die in a car accident?
Yes, 3 years ago, they were
He did.
killed coming
Yeah.
back here up in Canada.
But now you,
Well,
Nobody
I'll
You
tell
don't
you
think
one
of
better
it
than
now?
that.
Much of it, no.
I don't know, you might remember, years back, one summer, Mr. Terrell, I think, got him here, a violinist came. And they played up in the rooms up at Sam Ladd. They borrowed a room up there. And I used to take the cream down with my dolly, and I used to let them walk, because they always practiced in the morning, and I liked their music.
yeah.
All right, make a quick story short. Next year, 2 came. The next year, 3 came. And the next year, 6 came. Well, they stayed over at the hotel, but of course that didn't, in the morning, practicing music. So they all went up to Holland, up to Lakeview Inn. Mrs. Blair was running it then. And that is one of the reasons that the hotel down in the village was sold so quick, like, because Norman's wife was a rabid Jew. and they got out around it. They were planning on selling it to the Jews. So you got to put it up. Things went then. It's different than it is now. Mr. Colby, when they formed this group from Hadrick, came up by the Highland Lodge and bought out the water rights, he was kind of left out of it. And I don't think he liked it too well. He wanted to be with the crop of everything. You know George Colby. You know
Oh,
him.
yeah, I know very well.
So he was the one that really pushed through. That hotel was all sold and buckled down in about a week. And everybody knows pretty
Just
much
because
that
they
George
put their-
that George Colby was everybody knew he was the main one, and everybody knew it was one
Just
that
because
put
they're
most
afraid
of
it
it
was
in.
gonna be sold to Jews?
Well, yeah, they were a little afraid of it.
I don't think any Vermonter wanted to be known for being
No.
that, because you see that there was the French after that.
Yeah.
People,
That's
they
right.
just didn't
So
want
my
the
dad-
French Canadians
So
to get
they
in
all
here
went
either.
up to play a game of golf up the golf course. And they'd all gone down to Mrs. Blair's. And a few of them went to see her. They was a little afraid, just one on. They said they didn't need to worry, that she wouldn't think of selling out in Winton. She says, in fact, I sold it to folks over in St. Johnsbury. Oh, I could tell you the name in a minute. Well, anyway, they bought it in St. Johnsbury, and Mrs. Blass moved to St. Johnsbury that fall. So this is what happened. They came up to play golf, up the golf course. And they came and they said that it was more or less a private golf course, but this is when just two of them come, but that they could
Got
go
two
and play.
Jews.
That was the
Okay.
year two of them come. When they come up, three of them. When they came, the sixth that came up, they came over because we rented that pasture to them. They came over and they wanted to play golf. And Mr. who was the president of it then, he came over and wanted Dad to tell them that they couldn't play. Dad said, nothing doing. He says, we rent it to you. He says, it's up to you. So they went up. It was Bagnall. Mr. Bagnall was the president of it.
Mhm.
And he went out and he told them that their presence wasn't needed, that it was a private golf course and that they couldn't play. Well, that finished that up. They went back and left, and they never, any of them came back. But you
What
see,
I
that
heard-
was why.
How
They
about
was
the
afraid that they would come in, because they did. A bigger case of it is up at Old Orchard. We used to go up there.
Oh, yeah, that's.
And the Jews just run the
I don't think
place.
anyone really thought of the Castlemans as Jews. They
Oh,
knew
yeah,
they were.
did, but they were
Yeah.
just a little bit different.
I
They
know.
weren't as, well, they wouldn't go for trying to buy up a lot of stuff.
No.
And they wouldn't play at the club.
And they wouldn't put it in the cup. No. But you know that, a lot of people, just telling the Jews they weren't wanted,
Well, the
but
thing was,
but that's
at least the
next
way I
thing.
heard, if one came, they.
That's it. And that's the way it started
They
here.
brought all their families, and
In
that's
4
what they
years,
objected
in
to.
3 years, we had 1, 2, 4, and 6. When you got 6 of them, and money don't mean nothing to them, when they go up there, they had their golf clubs and the whole works, the best that money could buy.
You see,
But they didn't want
the
them.
White
That's what they
Mountains,
told me.
all the
Couldn't
resorts in the White Mountains were
Oh, yeah.
Jews, and they were afraid this was going to be like the White Mountains.
We had quite a lot of girls.
They
go,
had money.
I
Over,
remember hearing some of it, Mrs. Gray, I guess, even when I worked there.
Yeah.
well,
I
there
don't
was
think
three,
anyone
four
was
girls.
proud of the way they felt then, probably.
Quite a lot of girls.
I don't know.
Around here went and worked over at the White Mountains. I know Ethel Shatney did. She went and worked at the White Mountains, and
Oh, I did
she
too.
got,
You went over there and what?
Sure.
sure,
My mother and my
5 or
sister and I
6.
worked there one summer.
Really?
yeah.
Sure, it was a
Is that
good place. We got lots of Jews. They had money. They
Money.
tipped well, and we had a ball.
Ball.
Yeah.
My
Ethel
mother
used to.
did the cooking, so we were fed well. They didn't give us food in the
That's right.
restaurant where the young fellows in there would order twice and leave it, and we'd have steak
Yeah,
and all
Ethel
kinds.
Shaney.
And my mother would
Mrs. Jean
leave out
Simpson.
pie for us. And
Ethel went over there, and their chauffeur was Mrs. Jean Simpson. And she went to selling her syrup and things, and she had a big order at one of them places. Took all she could, all their extra and more too. Every 4 or 5 years, Ethel went over there and worked over there. And there's another girl went with her from here. I can't remember now who it was. But Now all them hotels are all burnt down, about
Oh,
two.
there's a bunch, and like Bethlehem is just.
Yeah, that
That's
is.
where
That's
we,
another-
that's
that's
where I
Bethlehem.
was.
Just
Yeah.
absolutely giant
Twin,
hotels, all
Oh,
boarded
Well,
up.
yeah.
they're so
That's where we
dilapidated, yeah, they're just going
All
downhill.
boarded up, but they're huge.
All the, a lot of people from Boston came, and when they, for maybe just 2 weeks or a week, their vacation, they would come up there. A lot of just single fellows would come up, and, we weren't, the waitresses weren't stealthy. Steve said we couldn't go out with the guests, but they asked us, we went to dances with them. And then we'd crawl up over the bank and so he wouldn't know we'd been out. You know, we had a lot of fun.
Oh, sure. That's in life.
We were
is
there,
worth
they had
living.
all kinds of
Devils,
rules that you couldn't do then, you know,
Sure,
that you
sure.
couldn't do today,
But
but
I
in
know
those
there's a
days.
lot of feeling at that time. But that's one reason why it was, they just didn't want to get them in, as Bernie said, when they bought that. That was the old ice house. We filled that ice house, built just like a house. Jennings put it in there when he had his big creamer down in East Hardwick.
Which
And,
ice house?
Yeah,
Where?
just as you go.
Well, I don't know whose camp it is in there now. I mean,
It's Windermere or?
just the other side of Black's Point.
Oh, it's the next driveway about.
Yeah, where the lake comes in there's the road, right in
Right
there.
in there.
Right
That
in
whole
there.
road.
Yeah, we filled that ice, we didn't fill it, we put in 5 tier, because they thought we was gonna have enough over to use the one at Randolph.
Mhm.
You wouldn't believe it, but we had 109 customers.
Wow.
We filled with ice boxes.
Uh,
We went 4
But getting
days a
back to
week.
this hotel, it's really the reason it's gone.
Hmm?
The reason the hotel in town is gone.
It's
It's
the
really-
big main reason, people don't let it go out around, but everybody knows in Colby, of course, he wanted it because it was right in front of his place, but I know well enough, everybody knew Colby pretty much. The only one that was really against it and fought pretty hard for it was Hurt, and that was Mr. Ingalls.
He wanted to keep it.
He wanted to keep it.
Who was Mr. Colby? Summer person?
No,
No, he was a year-round person, but he wasn't.
insurance and real estate.
He had
wasn't
quite
it?
a
Real
lot of
estate.
influence in
Run the
town.
sawmill.
Ran the sawmill, had Donald Brown's father did. I
He
don't
had
know.
money too.
Oh,
He
yes,
lives right in Philly.
he didn't make it more or less, he could have, but his father's the one that made it. He come from Victory in the sawmill, up in Victory. In them days, boy, I'm telling you, they had lumber up there. And Mr. Colby stayed there, and then finally they got, probably, I don't know, he had a chance to sell, but Mr. and Mrs. Colby came at the Bend. And they started in that mill at the Bend. But the Bend weren't quite fancy enough for them, so then they came up to Greensboro Village, and that made people at the Bend all hand out to Colby.
He used to have a lot of, remember, you know, log right straight up through. He had a pile of stuff in there. He'd get to go in the wintertime, you know.
Yeah.
He'd fill those skidways full. He had a pile of lumber in there.
Yes, he did.
Always did that.
But his father made
Log,
all
you know,
kinds of money.
Oh, yeah.
He
And,
bought the hotel and tore it down.
well, I wouldn't
I'm
say he
getting
really
upset about
bought
this
it. It was
50
an
years.
association, just the same as when you, did you ever stop to think of it when I ride around up there? Did you want to find many little villages like Greensboro where you had 4 big farms right in the village? Now you've got Donald's place,
Right.
you got the Melvin
Coffee, maybe. Is
place,
it hot?
I don't know what
down
it's
where
called.
Donald
Coffee.
had his,
Every
Donald
influence.
Brown eventually went and had his big dairy and thing.
Okay.
Then right across you had Mr. De Bruyn's place.
Yeah.
And then you had the
Behind the town hall.
no, that's where Mrs. Shalou lives. That's
Oh,
all one
yes.
big
Oh,
farm.
That's a farm.
And then you got the Ingalls,
And
right
then
there,
that's the one in
smack
town.
right in the middle of
On
it.
the-
Well, why
Yeah,
was
no.
there so much concern when Milton was there and he married? They had a camp. And Kenneth Brown,
That looks strong.
Went
If
in
it's too
and
strong, I'll
bought-
put some water in it. I don't know.
when his wife died, he
Maybe
bought
it isn't.
his wife's share. So he and Milton owned the camp.
That's right.
And of course, I got to be kind of careful, but this is the way it worked out. So Kenneth was watching to get the Ingalls place when Milton put up there and had his sale. They'd gone about as far as they could. And Kenneth was hoping that he could get in there. Well, of course, the people in the village didn't want that. So we just got a little
recently.
syndicate, I could
They
name
got
3 or
together
4
and
of
they
them.
bought the place.
Got all together and
Until the right
they
people-
paid enough so that they
You have
could, so Kenneth couldn't get in on that deal. And it's been very, very
Bernie,
fortunate
you want
for
coffee or apple juice?
Greensboro
I'll have
Village.
some coffee.
I don't know them personally,
Please,
but what I
thank
do
you.
know is they got the means, because I used to go up and see when they were fixing the underpinning. There was trees all around there in Milton. I remember out at the village, and his
Just
father
think of it, how
started
that
up at
looked
the
today,
same time.
those trees.
Well, yes, he started with the
Joe
chainsaw.
DeMars was the one who
Yes,
set those trees
yes, he
out.
was. He and Fred Fuller, we bought them over
Yeah.
from Standard in one horse wagon. And set them trees all out, and I remember when I used to go and see Lora,
Yeah.
she was, when they were getting them cut down, she said there's only one that we always wanted to cut. She said, we can't see down into the village square. She said, but Mr. Noy and Milton, I was down the morning they started. Everybody pretty near liked them. They started in cut every down one of them trees. And he bulldozed it all out. That lawn went right out to the road. And he bulldozed that all out, and he was going to put in pumps and his barn. He was going to fix it, so he was doing well. He was the agency for the John Deere, and he had done very, very well. And he was going to have that for his shop. Parkus went down, when he fixed our barn, went down there.
I heard he was gonna put a marina in.
Well, I don't know what he's going to do if they got started.
Yeah, there was something about that, I remember.
And that's why everybody breathed a sigh of relief when this other party, and they fixed it up. Boy, they put money in there enough to sink a ship. And they evidently got it
Well,
filled,
it looks
too.
great.
Yeah, that's a lot
But-
better than the.
But just think what if how that,
Smoked fish.
sometimes you have to have a little underground current, something to protect your interests. That could have gone to somebody and been the only way you can control it was zoning and so forth. You could have had quite a
Concession.
well, then, yes, it was just really sport the village, because you realize that
Fish.
that's a big layout, right
And good.
smack in the middle of the village.
That's right.
That's,
Now you can go around, there's only one other place that has three, and that's over North Dam. North Dam has 3 farms.
That's
We used to go
what I
and play
Yeah.
ball. And I've often thought, I once and on and drove around, I don't know why you can find a little village that had 4, and they were big farms.
John, try my smoked
Thank
fish.
you, I will. Besides that, Robert had some cows,
yeah.
and Fred Goodrich, Charlie Goodrich lived down where,
Well, that's where the Spaniard lives now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Had a
Runs
nice
the
little
milk.
red barn there, and he had 5 or 6 cows, and boy, he got more milk out of them 6 cows than the average farmer did. And he pastured his, he drove them up through the village, and put them in just by the driveway where you go up into the old town village. That was his pasture, and that where Mr. and Mrs. Goodrich bought after they sold up here. They went down and built that little red place where the fellow lives that runs the cedar mill, and they had their land up in back of where Kimball, and that field, I believe, where that field, some of it, where Perron pastures now, was in there. That was his field in Woodland.
And he kept right on farming after he left the Highland Lodge land?
Yeah, they moved, Will Hardy. After he left the village, they went up to, and moved in with their daughter, which is Maddie. And Will Hardy, and they had a son, Robert. They moved up there. Then you've got Robert, and think where he used to drive his cows clear down to, who was that old lady that lived down there all along?
No Ingalls? No.
No.
Down by the cemetery there.
Yeah,
All the way down there.
remember? Boy, if you wanted to do something, you wanted to step on their land, she'd come out, limb you out in a whole minute.
I know.
Well, anyway, that's why he pastured, and the
So there were
pasture.
constantly people driving cows through the village.
I know. And that wasn't too many years ago. You folks can all remember that.
Sure.
And then Mr. Ladd was the last one. When he sold his farm, he came down and lived up where the Goodriches did. I think he rented it probably of them. I don't think he bought it. The little red house. He rented it. And Robert let him keep 4 cows over in the barn where that goes with where Robert and Gertrude lived. That brick house is a barn.
There's a
Thank you.
barn
And
right there.
Ernest Ladd had 4 cows up in there, and he used
Yeah.
to turn them down there when he sold the farm over at the other side of the
So
lake.
where'd you say Charlie had a farm? Was it the stone house? No.
Charlie,
Goodrich.
no, Homer Hodgson lived up where,
Oh, Siggy.
where,
Siggy's house
yeah, Siggy,
in the back.
Homer Hodgson, and that's where Merle was born
That's
and brought
right.
up
So
in
that's-
Lora.
So he had.
And they
house
laid there, and
Okay.
Charlie married Merle about the same
Right.
time Guy did Stella. And they thought that, everybody thought it was kind of a funny move, but anyway, they thought they wanted to go in farming together. So they went up and bought the stone house. And Homer lived there, and Charlie did for a year or two. It was during that time that the town went and bought this big tractor. You remember that, Bernie? They bought this big tractor, Western type tractor. And he drove it.
Oh, you walked? Yes.
Locked up.
Go right in there, okay. There's a chair, you put it on, or you put it in a.
This is great
Why don't you
fish.
sit up there?
Isn't that
Do you
good?
ever sit here?
This is your own fish you caught?
Yeah, it's smoked, isn't that
Boy, that was good.
good? Yeah, I think that's good. I'll go get some more chairs.
So we got, have you got the Laura?
Yes, because
I see,
Ted
yeah.
and his wife are coming.
Oh, Ted and they're coming?
Yeah, but they're
Oh,
gonna
wow.
drive up, but they're gonna be a little
They're
late.
driving us, right?
These girls walk.
They walked
Yeah,
all the
there's
way.
a Willies in there, Marjorie Perron, Dorothy, Willie, and there's Ethel, Marjorie Messer.
Mhm.
And I took the thing and took the diary and I got, maybe 4 of them, as Mrs. Dr. Kinney. Who was the fellow that built, Wakefield that built the schoolhouse?
Yeah.
Well, he and his wife were
Yeah.
great musicians.
Oh, mhm.
And I know they're in there, but I can't pick them out. But Donald Brown has a picture just like this.
He's pretty good at identifying people too.
Yeah, but he called me down.
Oh, I think maybe the two of you need to get
I
together.
got-
You gotta get Donald up here. He's got some good stories.
Yes. I see he was mowing today. He was mowing out the snow, not mowing, I mean, by mowing.
Yeah.
He was called him up
Get over
last
the
night. and
backside. Do you want
coming,
some,
but-
a hot coffee
Oh,
or
a little
some
later, I
apple
just
juice?
to sit and listen for a while.
Don't you don't want anything to drink? Is it apple juice here and the coffee and tea?
Okay, well, a little apple juice would be fine.
Well,
You didn't
Right over
see
the
us.
backside.
and later,
Well, I wanted to give Laurette a chance to walk.
and later
That's
thing
the
that
idea.
went
Walks all
together.
the time.
We all need it. Well, yeah.
Well, we left
tried
entertainment
to
a long
Well-
time ago and we're gossiping. 50-year-old gossip.
Well,
I got
it
one
must
thing
be
else.
pretty well rived by now.
I'm glad Bernie's by my side, because he knows.
Nobody can contradict us.
I'm glad you're by my
Years ago, I
side.
wouldn't remember too much. I would remember
Thank
some
you.
though. I remember the pictures in one of the camps, he had all these nice big old
Oh, I
kids.
can-
There was women,
I can
all
get
the
a
high
picture
school
to
kids
show-
used to steal across the
show,
road
like-
and go see them.
Oh,
Baines, there used to
wonderful.
be Baines camp.
You must try this because this is my smoked fish. I caught them and smoked them and fixed them, so you
Smoked
must.
fish, huh?
Oh my.
How about none that you liked it?
Well-
Some people are so clever.
Oh, so clever.
It is good. Now, what kind of fish did you do that?
Well, it's there were 2 rainbows and 3.
Oh, it's trout.
Yeah, it's trout. I don't like trout
You don't like
fried.
perch?
I like perch
Yeah.
fried, but I don't cook. But I don't. This is the only way I like trout.
How do you do that now? How do you do, how do you
Just smoke it. Well, I put it in a brine of very little salt and some brown sugar and let it stay overnight. And then I take it out and dry it off good. And I put it in my gas grill and put some corn cobs on, smoke it. And just smoked it in the grill.
Yeah, but do you have to freeze it to keep it after that, or does it stay?
Yeah, you'd have to
Freeze it.
freeze it if you want to keep it.
How long do you smoke it?
Oh, well, I think it's done. There's no. It's,
Is it like a day or a week or?
oh
2
no,
hours?
I did it in a day. Didn't take a day. It's a double gas grill, and I put the fish on one side and didn't light it, and just lighted one side, so that it cooked slowly and smoked at the
Oh,
same time.
good.
Yeah,
That picture, who's in that?
that's John's.
Well, I brought that up just though, and I haven't got my, I do have
Anybody I
one
know
or 2
there?
things that
I
I'm
don't think you know.
thinking I'll mention while I'm here, and that was years and years ago when the 2 churches went together.
Oh,
For
in
the
the
winter.
village, you mean? Oh, and remember
And
the two churches in the
they
morning?
would sign up 3
They look like pilgrims, some of them like Easter pilgrims.
things of
down here.
entertainment
White
Cute,
brown.
to come to Greensboro during the winter.
What?
They come in, say, December, January, and February.
Who did?
The 2 churches went together and they signed up with the company in Boston. And it was a big thing. And they were nice too. I know they would have quartets and they'd
You
have
have got it.
men
You probably have
playing
lots that I don't
violins
have.
and a
Let me see
woman
some
would
others.
sing and they usually had the,
I can find 10 in there.
I can remember, of course, they had musicians.
Let me see what that
pulling the
might
rabbits.
There's a Perron
At
boy.
that time,
Yes.
the children were all
Oh, I
allowed
think this
the,
one too, I
There's a
think.
the front
girl.
seats.
You weren't
and
there,
we're
right?
not.
I'm not sure.
And of
Yes,
course,
no, I
we had to
looked at
have
it. This looks like a dog.
The seats were all reserved because up here in the wintertime, it cost the 2 churches quite a lot. So they had reserved seats, so they had a bad night that they would be sure of the money so they could pay them. They come in on the train in the evening and come up,
Look at the
And
expression on that one.
usually go to the hotel.
Let me see.
Clown and everyone.
I bet you that's a
Then
lorry.
they'd
It
do
looks like a
their,
lorry.
Yeah, that's.
in the evening,
Let's see
they
which
would
one.
do have their hour show up in the town hall.
Oh, yeah, that's
And
Gillis.
then some,
Yeah,
if we
I
had
think
a
so.
lecture,
Yeah, there's
he
poor
would
Mary.
go and stay with the different folks around and they'd
That's
stay
in
and then
here.
they'd go
I-
back
Isn't that
down
Ted?
about 11
Yeah,
take
that's
the train,
Ted.
go
Yeah.
to
That's
in
a
St.
Perron.
Johnsbury about
Oh,
noon
man.
and take 1 o'clock, go back.
These are musicians.
The other musicians, they had a lecture. They would have, as I said, one, they had a magician show. And they were very good.
Yeah.
Is this,
They were
is
top
this
stuff.
for, like during the week or on weekends or?
Well, no, I think more or less probably
Yeah.
it was on, possibly
You can
might
pick
have been
them
a
up right
Friday or, it was, I can't
And was
remember
it
the
for
days.
local people or was it for summer people or? for
No,
everybody?
it's just all local people. Some of, this is right in the dead of, and of course when they come, I know Mr. Drown spoke to my father and they didn't know what they were going to do because, so they went down and got 2 or 3 of these gas heaters, and put them in the place, but of course you know how they are, but
Yeah.
there's always a lot of gas. So I think more or less that they decided the windows are a little too rough to do that, but they done that for 3 different windows.
Didn't the Grange get involved in that? Seems like I've seen, or something of
No,
that type.
that is the Nellie
But,
Gills,
yeah, the
that's
Grange
coming a
was
little later.
Nellie, yeah, that was
That was the
something
Nellie
different.
Gill. Then, as I spoke about, as the Red Path Chautauqua,
Yeah.
and that came in the summertime, and of course that was real good
About
too.
what year was that when you do
Oh
that?
boy, I don't know, I know I was old enough. I was a young kid, I was
Way
way
In the
back.
20s?
Yes,
Well, I
that was
was-
way back, because I was probably only 6 or 8 years
I
old
think
when I
I was
remember
about,
going to
I was just
Pressburg.
gonna say,
About in the 20s, maybe.
yeah, 20.
Yeah.
What was it?
Where did they meet here?
Well, I tell you, they'd sign up.
Entertainment.
This was a big traveling, but it was the very best. And they came from Berrymont here, and they come to Hardwick, and then they usually went from Hardwick, I think, to Littleton, New Hampshire, and then they all ended up in Portland, Maine. And they would come for a week. And in the morning, they had the trained people and all the children in Hardwick or in all the areas, you know, to take them down. And they had them for games and everything. And usually their programs started fairly early in the afternoon. And Mr. Stockdale was on the speaking. He was on every once in a while. And Mr. Morrow, which was over in Randolph, he was the head of the Temperance League in
Temperance, yes.
and I guess
So it
he was
must have
a
been the 20s.
district of the
I was in the 20s.
Well,
federal.
this one I'm thinking of, John, it was just once a week. And you bought a season ticket for the whole
Yeah.
season, through the winter there. You bought a whole
Oh,
season ticket.
here in the winter, yes, you
Yeah.
had to buy them, I told
I
you.
remember we,
Yeah,
over
you had to
Craftsbury,
do it
we went to
because-
Craftsbury way up.
Because you couldn't,
Yeah.
there's too much,
And,
you didn't make too
There was
much
some
anyway.
wonderful speakers.
Boy,
there, too.
I remember the last speaker they had, he was a preacher from the South. I don't know what state, it made no difference. And he came and stayed overnight with us. And he came up, and this is way back, and he was just presenting. He was a darky, and he was presenting the way the darkies were overrun and how they were hoping. I know we got home about 11 or so, and he just relaxed. He was cold, and we had 1 pipe furnished. And we were just little kids too, like. And he got to telling stories. And boy, I know we set up, it was after 1 o'clock.
But that wasn't the Chautauquas, was it?
No, now
because
I'm on the
Yeah,
Chautauqua.
because that was a week
Yeah,
thing.
This was before Chautauqua.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
This was before. And it came and it was one afternoon, I believe. People have asked me, I don't want to put it ahead, I feel kind of funny, but quite a lot of people asked me how my dad got singing the Scotch song.
Oh, yeah.
And they've asked me, thought I'd put something up, and I thought I'd write in the up the organ, and they didn't say. So I thought this was a good time.
Oh, you have to write something
Oh,
about
yeah.
your father singing because everybody around here.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Mr.
He used to
Stockdale.
come to school and do it every so often. We'd have a.
This was in the afternoon, I think it was. Mr. Stockdale, I know we always used to go to Chautauqua. And it's pretty busy too, because go up the afternoon, then come back and do your chores, and then come back to the evening. But boy, it was tops.
Chautauqua?
Chautauqua,
That's
that's what
the
they
name
call
of
it.
the troop, or?
Yeah, there's an organization come around New York City,
Oh.
and it was the tops of everything. As I said, Mr. Stockdale was
Oh,
speaking
Of course,
this
he used to preach
afternoon.
down here Sunday some too.
Oh, he always did.
He was.
Wasn't
Yeah,
it
he's
religious
not-
he was
wise,
good.
basically, religious, it wasn't, it's supposed to be for the upbringing and the.
No, he wasn't
No,
religious.
that's what I thought
No,
it
no,
was supposed to be.
no.
There's
No,
entertainment.
because this other fellow that I
Entertainment,
want to mention, he wasn't too much
No,
religious.
Yeah.
Mr. Stockdale was speaking that afternoon, and when he had the lecture, he didn't want it too dry. So he had a man come out, and he sang these songs, and it was Harry Lauder. Well, that just took my dad. Boy, he enjoyed that. So afterwards, back in, everybody, a lot of people didn't see him. We drove horses down there. There's people had cars, but most of them went, and they went out around and hitched them to the posts around, and hitched them in the bind of the churches. Well, what I'm getting at, so my father went up and spoke to Mrs. Stockdale, of course, and he spoke about Harry Lauder's songs, how he enjoyed them, and Mrs. Stockdale said, would you like to meet him? He says, I imagine he's out backstage, so Mr. Stockdale took Dad out, and he talked to him and so forth, and so Mr. Stockdale said, well, he says, I'll tell you what I'll do. He says, I'll send you a couple of songs of mine, because that pleased my dad. So we sent him a song, and one of the first ones, a big one, that seemed everybody like, it's nice, let's see, it's nice to get up in the morning, it's better than lay in bed. And Dad put a lot of work into it, because his songs, as I'm coming to, between each verse, he had a little, little things in there, jokes and so forth. Some of them were pretty good, and some of them were a little on the dirty side. So that's why he don't go on religion. But Harry Lauder, he lived most of his life in Scotland. He came to the United States, and then when the First World War came, he spent practically all his time singing to the boys. The same as Bob Hope, and then this woman that has sang, big flashy woman.
Kate Smith?
Yeah, Kate Smith. She gave her life pretty much to that too. And Harry Lauder. So then my dad, he got these, and they were awful hard little things to learn to sing and try to get all this in between the lines. And he put a lot of work into it, but he enjoyed it. And then Mrs. Holly came, and she had a relative that had the kilts and things, and she went and got him for that. So Dad
Yeah,
went
that's
there.
what I remember. His
And
dressing up
he
those
used to
kilts.
sing to all the Grangers, he'd been to Barry, and he used to sing to Hadrick. He loved to go to Hadrick when they had their contest, The Lacors would always beat him out, but he never minded that. They had a beautiful group of singing in the court, too. And but Dad always usually come in second. And he had a great time. But Mother put up there's a lot of credit for that, because they were catching them things to play. And Sunday afternoon we used to go in
Well, come
her and the boys, and she would play them over and play them and play them and play them. They're very catchy little things to play. So that's more or less the history how my father
Who?
got to singing.
Donald Trump? Yep. He will,
Yeah.
Well, that's-
He said the kids had been there and they just left, and I said, well,
I
we're
got
waiting
to
for you
leave
to come
because
on.
my kids were there when I left.
Do you still have the music to these songs? that
Oh
your
yeah,
father
I
had
used to
started,
sing in some of them. Yeah, I've got the sheets of music.
Yeah.
One of them was me who's among the heather, or something
Yeah,
like that.
that's one. And,
I know, there's something about line the girls all up. He
Yeah,
says,
yeah.
stoop over and pick a daisy.
Well, I just remember when we were kids, he'd come to school, you know, and they'd be on the old stage there and give a performance, and we used to enjoy going upstairs and hearing
Yeah,
that.
he
Of course,
did.
that, just wearing the
He
kilt would be
enjoyed
enough
it.
for us to remember.
Actually, we had quite a lot of culture in those days,
Well, I guess
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
You can't sing those songs?
Mhm.
I bet you
I
could if
did.
you wanted. You did, yeah.
Yeah, I sang,
Certainly would be nice to keep them.
Oh, yeah.
oh, I have them all.
You ought to,
Last time I
Tape
sang
it.
one was on a class night in 29.
Oh, my.
I sang.
That was the last time?
Yeah, you
Long
got
time
up,
ago.
I haven't sang for 40 years. But I used to take lessons. That's another thing. We mustn't forget, I don't think, anytime. We all remember this, but Mr. Perron, when he came, and he was, when Mr. Bowles, he came, and then he was principal. But he changed the whole structure of the music in this town. For instance, in our church, it was just the old numbers. Lester Perron, Holly Haynes, and Alden, Mrs. Alden Perrin, Laura Hodgson.
Yeah.
They came every Sunday, nobody else was asked to sing, and they kept their pews, and when they died, there was somebody else. When Mr. Perrin come, and we had Mrs. Evelyn Springsteen,
Yeah,
was our pianist.
Yeah.
And he loved music. In fact, I took some lessons from him, so did, fellow who used to work up the game is Howland Rushford. He had a beautiful voice. And Mr. Perrin had quite a few. He sang voices. And we had a men's quartet, we had a women's quartet, and we used to sing to all the Granges around. We weren't Grange members, a lot of them, but I remember the boys' quartet. There was Raymond Mercier, double quartet. Raymond Dufer, my brother, Donald King, Raymond Mercier, myself. And the girls were two Hollins, Harriet King, Fairleigh Cargo. Not only that, but every Friday morning, they wouldn't believe it now, but we took our morning period in our high school, and that was given up to singing, and we read the little L of the Bible every morning, allegiance to our flag, and then we would get,
and said the Lord's Prayer.
that's right. And it
Yeah,
didn't
every
hurt us
morning.
a damn bit.
Yeah.
Didn't hurt us a damn bit.
No,
The
no,
Catholics were there, and
Yeah.
they didn't maybe understand it. If you get down to
Oh, the
it.
Catholics
Well,
would
we
stop
said
on
that.
accepting that last
Oh,
phrase.
last
That's
level.
when
Not
they,
necessarily.
well, they used to when I was in high
Of course,
grade.
many of them
They
didn't go to
now.
high
No,
school.
they wouldn't now, I don't think.
But we would get somebody out outside, most always. We'd get the school director, and they'd tell us what the school director meant. And then we'd get the select man, and then Mr. Bogan, Mr. Gordon, and the ministers would come up. And during the school year, we'd always had spelling right up till we graduated. We had
Sure
15
did.
words a day. And Friday morning, the teacher picked out as an English class. I think we probably had 25 words. And that was figured right up and figured right in their English. Right up when we even graduated, didn't we?
I ought to know, because I didn't do well in spelling at all.
I mean, I would have thought I would have remembered it too.
Well, I didn't either. I'd take my second-year-old with Robert Willers
That was in
when
high
she
school.
was wife, when I was in high school.
I can remember in grade school, though, somewhere it was like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, that we had 5 new words every day. And then we had to remember by memory the 5 the day before. I mean, those weren't given to us, pronounced, for us. And we had to remember by memory what they were. So you wrote those down in the 5 new ones. And every day it kept on, we had 10 words to write, but 5 were from the memory and 5 new ones.
So Mr. Perrin did have a big change in the music with the school. And
Mr.
that's
Perron
another
was
thing
my
we miss.
superintendent for years.
That's
Now,
another
Mr.
thing we
Perron,
missed in
now,
this
It's
town.
not the Perron that had the,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
horse, what was it now, a tool?
Oh, no, not that one.
No.
No.
Okay.
He's
No.
still alive,
Robert
isn't he?
Willie's
Who?
sister.
Mr. Perron.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah,
still, he
Bill
lives in
Perron.
Barry, doesn't
Oh.
he?
No,
Okay, see,
now
I
he's
don't-
up in
that's
Maine.
Milton Perron.
He did live in South Barry,
Yeah.
Okay.
but Dorothy was so bad when
must be
Yeah.
she finally passed
Yeah,
away,
he
so
must
he
be.
married.
A lot of superintendents we had are already.
He
He
married
married
one
one.
of the Willie girls, you know,
Dorothy.
Dorothy Willie.
Oh, and she wasn't.
So that would be like Edna's sister?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Oh,
That's
I
another
know.
thing.
Is she still living there?
No, she died in a nursing home a few years ago. It was very bad.
Yeah, she's very bad.
And then he
about that.
married again, I
He
believe.
married his
He says he's up in Maine.
secretary, and he lives in Maine now.
Oh, he's in Maine now.
Yeah. But he was a
Mr.
good superintendent too, but I
Mr.
had him for
Bowles, he married
years.
his secretary
And who followed
too.
him, was that Mr. Jenkins after that?
I think so.
Yeah. No, Mr. Jenkins was before.
He hired me for my first job, but then
What
they
do you mean
switched foot
before?
standard into the other district. So.
No.
Yeah.
Go in there.
Because I had Mr.
No,
Jenkins.
I had
You're
Jenkins,
right.
I remember
Yeah.
Mr. Jenkins, I was in the first,
I wish
second,
I'd-
third grade.
I wished
Yeah.
I'd looked over the other day when I brought that up with the pictures of it. And I think that it's no more right that we should make a little note, because Mrs. Springstead has been the rock bottom of keeping our alumni. I don't know if you'll find another school around that is closed, that has as strong alumni as we have, and she's put her heart and soul right in it. And she had it, I hadn't seen it for years, but the first pages she had the superintendents, the teachers, the years they taught, and everything. Of course, Bernie, we see some of the pictures there. You remember George Coleman's female, and she had them all in that. And she it really all falls on her. Of course, we have our other ones, but she's been ahead of that ever since she was knee-high to a grasshopper.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be nice if we just put in something
Oh, I think so.
in memory of her,
Wow, it's
because
nice.
it did mean so much to
Bernie, did you grow
the school.
those flowers? Who? Laura?
Yes, I grew it from a
They're
little leaf.
beautiful.
Oh, my
See, I
goodness.
gotta sneak one of your leaves now.
Yes, you can have them. This is
Well,
not
you-
this one.
Oh, I thought there
was.
What is it anyway? What
And
is
then,
it?
of course, our school, I think our school courses
Have to ask
has been one of the big things.
Yeah.
We had our senior plays,
I'll show you how.
we had our basketball games, the girls went to the finals
Oh, yeah.
in 2 years, the boys
I put
went
the
1
cookies
year,
on to
that's pretty
eat
good
too,
for a
but I
little
can't-
school like
I'm gonna
this.
try
one in a minute.
Yeah, a little bit later, I am
These are
too.
filled cookies, some are raspberry and
I don't-
raisin, and this is peanut butter.
There's no question about the school, when it was
You want one?
finally was dropped, I think it lost a
Phil,
lot
you
of
want?
I'll turn around and have some tea
our
now.
town
Okay,
life,
good.
because
Laura busy.
Yeah,
our
Well, the water's
teachers
hot.
always went right in like
I
to
got
the
the
church
raspberries
and everything, and I sometimes think maybe that
We had good town teams down there too.
we had some good county. Remember they was Crashbury?
That's
And
right.
remember the time that Dr. Foster got mad over there
Oh,
in the
boy,
corner and
yeah.
pitched in the pike up in Crashbury?
I didn't miss it.
That was too bad, but that was
Yeah.
one fault of Dr. Foster.
But,
He had a terrible
yeah,
temper.
good temper.
He was just as quick got
Well,
over it.
Don
Boy,
Heiser, Paul,
Paul,
do you know
Robert,
that
yeah.
Dr. Foster is a minister now?
Robert,
He is?
That's right.
Did you
You
know
told me
that,
that
Bill?
once.
John?
Andrew Willie.
Do you know that Dr. Foster is a minister now?
No.
No,
Yeah, he went to,
he went down south.
yeah, and he went to theological school, is that what you say? But he hasn't got a church yet.
Oh.
He can't be getting any younger, can he?
No, good heavens,
no,
he's an old
He's,
man.
Yeah, must be.
more crippled up than I am.
Really?
Yeah,
He really is.
Yeah.
Now he is,
yeah, we see him every year.
he's probably younger, some younger than I am.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of changes.
John, the Chautauqua held in a tent.
Yes.
I vaguely remember, and I would have guessed I maybe
You
went
know,
to
when you go
Crashford.
out Church Street and
I
you
went-
turn to go down, you know where Mrs. Bemis lives.
Oh, out in there, it's
Oh,
where the
you had
Hardwick
it
one
in
was.
Hardwick. Oh,
They
yeah.
had it
Oh,
in
yeah. Oh,
Crashbury
yeah.
too, didn't they?
Greensboro's too small for
Right.
him.
Yeah, they held them in
Yeah.
Crashbury, and I think
yeah.
probably we went to Crashbury.
We went
But
to
where was it in Crashbury?
Town Hall,
Oh, not in a tent.
not in the tent, Town Hall.
You think that's the same organization?
It was a
You want some
Chautauqua.
tea?
Thank you.
Couldn't have been good.
Would
Well,
you
they
have
had a
some
tent
tea?
down there.
No,
John, they had
I'm
stuck
doing fun
on
with
the
this.
crash,
Very
so help me God. They
Well,
did,
I'm glad of it.
because
well, I sort of vaguely remember
you
going.
had to
and
buy
the
it,
tent
the
angle.
folks always buy the season ticket, because it's
Yeah.
really the only entertainment
And
that mother and dad went to through the summer.
It's on the same here.
Yeah.
We went to every one of
We
them.
drive down.
The first year they came, they had big steamers, big red steamers. And I just remember, and they were open, they had the curtains went down, but they opened and the whole seat went right across the back of the truck. And they would go up around by the band village in East Hardwick. And they, now what was it? One of the hills they couldn't make. I promised one out of Hardwick. And the band didn't quite done making it. And it didn't prove too satisfactory. Because
What was driving them? Horses? Bringing them? No.
well, there was cars, but most everybody went with horses.
Oh, yeah.
We went with horses because Dad didn't get a car. He was one of the last ones. And,
You want to bring out the
Well,
purpose, now, the people who started this whole thing, wasn't it the idea of sort of enrichment and bringing all the people together to,
that's one thing. After Chautauqua, all them things, people come there from all around. And
Yeah.
they weren't in no hurry going home.
No.
Just get out and get home
That's
so they
it.
can get back at 5 o'clock.
Because they were so small
That's right.
communities.
John, do you remember the people that used to come entertain and they hypnotized people? Oh, in Craftsbury, I remember these
What?
people would come and they would ask people to come up on the stage and they'd
Yeah,
hypnotize
I've
them
heard about it.
and put them all through.
Sleep.
I remember as a kid,
They woke
boy,
up.
that was scary. That was
Then,
awful scary.
Yeah, I would think so.
Mrs. Ling spoke about the Grange. They had a group, nearly
That
guild
means something,
players. And they were very good too. And they came around about once in 2 weeks in the summertime and gave a play. And a certain percentage of their proceeds went to the Grange. Well, they were most all comic, but one night they came and they had
Well, a real,
a real heavy one. And I remember one of the scene of it was a fire in the back of it. And they told some of the people that they had gases. They had lights too that night to show it. They had gases. And it sure did. They had a fire and the whole thing burnt. And I can't remember whether it was animals or some of the children were supposed to be burnt. And the kids all sitting in front, they turned the lights all out. And it didn't sound very good. So Mr. Gordon was the minister at that time, and the deacons and some of the members of the church, they came to the Grange and told us that, asked us if we didn't think it'd be about time to not have them come anymore. So, of course, we didn't. It really shouldn't have been put on, but they were comic, and they were good, and they came for 4 or 5 years.
been better
Sure.
to change.
Did they come in the winter or the summer? Because
All summer.
the Grange
all
put
summer.
on their own plays too.
I just gonna say, in the winter time, they put on their
I
own.
did that in the winter, not the summer.
Well, I put in the summer. We only had summers. I got 8
thought-
books. My
Yeah, I
dad-
thought that because I've gone through the history. I don't remember them, but
At
Yeah,
what
they
time
did.
was this? What years, was that in the thirties or
Well, it was way earlier than
earlier
that.
than that? When did Miss Jean
This
start with
is-
her plays?
Mrs. Bates was the one that always directed the
Oh,
plays.
yeah.
She was very good. They had the Casavars, they had the Spearses, they had the Gabies, they had the Hayneses, and then who's the Spears that lives up where?
Dave
By
Spear.
law, he was a comic.
He was,
They
yeah.
had the darndest time with him, and they would have their practice rehearsals and everything. And when the night come to give the play, and even before then, you never knew what they were going to get fired at. I remember one time you had a scene of coming in with a wheelbarrow. And Mrs. Haynes, Mr. Caswell, and Mrs. Haynes always took a darky part. She was always the maid. And Mr. Caswell, that would be Willie Massey's wife's father. He was the darky. And they were real good. Yeah. And then, of course, the school had that play. They had the senior play, and then they had the, as I say, the school had it was a big factor in the town. When that went, and you lost the town representative, they didn't. You lost 2 things that I always thought
Yeah.
would
How
kill the
big
town.
was it at the early days, like in the 20s?
School?
Yes. Was it more or a smaller high school than, about 40s and 40s or 50s? Or you remember?
Well, I graduated in 29.
No, she means the number.
Oh, the number? Well, the most we ever had in high school at that time when we closed it was you had to have 60. We had 57. Well, we had around 30. So it ran around 104 to 109. That took all the children, all the students. You realize back then our neighbors over there. There's 14 in the Deloria's family.
Oh, I know.
And 13 now. You took that all over town. Of course, now they didn't go to high school.
No.
To our high school, but
Yeah.
most of those children, the Deloria kids, all went to Newport
Yeah.
at the
That was
convent
good, yeah,
up
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And
the Perrons
all
were
that. The
a big
Perrons
family, too.
went some
Yeah.
to school too. But boy, they were brought up to save their pennies. There ain't a one of them gone out in this world, and they've done all right. So when you just take two families like that and find the kid, and then they talk about they don't know how they're gonna handle it today, I wonder what they think. Yeah, we had 109, 111. But we only had 57 at the time we closed it, because that was one of the big things. That and the library, why we had to close. And we were in the position in the town at that time where we really had to. All in laws, we went out and tried to get enough, but we couldn't. But Mrs. Jean Crashby was the same, but she went and got somebody up in there and probably done it herself. We got a
She did a lot of
small
it
bus,
herself,
Yeah.
and she bused all the children from Irisburg after, till they put the new school in between Orleans and Baden.
Well, they still get the 7th and 8th grade from Albany.
They
at
do.
Craftsbury.
I mean, that's why they got ready to
See,
go
I
to
said-
Craftsbury.
Yeah, but of
But
course
the thing
Craftsbury
that
is
makes
also
me
paying
is kind of disgusting.
high now for their taxes. I mean,
Yeah.
But sure, they talk
We
this
had,
year of giving it up.
yeah.
I had a
During
lot
the
of-
high school.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a lot
About
of
it every
relatives
year.
out in Sioux City, Iowa.
Well, the state keeps asking them to do more.
And
more
we
stuff.
write
That's
back
just
and
it,
forth
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
quite a bit. Now they've gone and we don't.
Yeah.
But I have, their children in the high school that they're going to only have 32
Oh.
in their high school. And it runs like that.
Where's that?
It's just out, it's in Sioux City, Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
But they don't go. But people nowadays fly with airplanes. They don't realize what's down underneath.
No.
But you take out in them western states and get to the point where you got to get a tax base to support a great big school. It has to be in a big place. Such buses going to that school, them kids have got to take a dinner before they even get there.
I can see it.
People
Have a
don't
union
realize that
school out
today.
there and have school planes
Yeah.
every morning.
Yeah.
You place.
Yeah.
You don't notice that. When we go on buses, gone down, you don't realize. You just take us north of South Carolina and put it over Vermont, good land sakes. And you've got your states so crowded in New England.
Yeah.
You just take and put them up against them western states, and them western states, just one state go out back. Connecticut, New Hampshire, and Maine, and Vermont, be about half of it. So we don't realize.
No.
No.
So that is why they don't.
Yeah.
Today they may, but this is just within probably 10, 12 years. They got their school only 32,
Yeah.
and they've got good schools too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think
sometimes
you can
think
do
it-
it. You can do it.
Well, didn't Vermont come in second
Yeah.
for the school?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
Where
Yeah,
are they? And they pay their teachers way down the bottom somewhere?
yeah, but that's a little different too. A
mean,
population
second for
makes a
what?
lot of difference there.
Quality of
best in the
schools.
quality in the country, in
They're
the whole
second.
United
Yes.
States. They
Yes.
came in
Oh, yes.
second.
Completely.
Well, in a little elementary
believe
school,
it?
your third year, 3 years ago, came in second or something. And the Asian Union is doing exactly well. But to me, that's the whole same thing.
Yeah.
The smaller you can keep a school, the better you're going to have a school. I don't care what they say. And
Well, you
that's
don't
why you can
lose
handle it. We went up to St. Albans here 2 years ago with my granddaughter. They had 149 graduating in that class. Well, boy. And we went clear up in the top, up in there, and talk about being a fire hazard. But we went up 3 flights of fires to get into it. They had nights, but when you come to give away your diploma for 149 kids and being up next to Canadian line, a good half of them you couldn't pronounce their name. I tell you, the fellow that gave those diplomas were the one I picked. But here again, I'm coming up. I'd asked them, of course, their granddaughter, she's a little on the quiet side, and I asked her, just for fun, how many of them she knew in her graduating class. She doesn't know too many of them personally. Don't
Well, I
even know.
bet Willie knows about that. I bet your classes were
Uh,
large.
My class, my graduating class from high school, 600.
Oh, my gosh. And here we are talking.
So I kind of laughed and I said, well, who do you know up there? Oh, she said, well, she said, if we've got a fellow that plays basketball and is an
Everybody
outstanding
knows him.
basketball, we all know that.
Everybody knows him.
You see that? But
Where-
that's it.
Where was that that you got used to?
Well, I've got to go. Well,
Yeah.
well,
You would take off, all right?
Have
I have got
have you said all that, have you got down
oh,
all
yeah,
the
I got
things that
it.
you're
Yeah,
supposed to say?
you folks can pick up.
Yeah, but I want to
to.
be sure to get everything you had done there. We have, huh?
Well, you wouldn't want to read my notes because I'm pretty slack.
Well,
Yeah, I got it all. I got
You
it.
You sure?
Yeah, I got the churches.
I would
The only
say,
one thing that I'll leave you with, I guess, So I always have to do something, you know. We churches used to go together at Christmas time.
Yeah.
And we had a big, different classes in the Sunday school, we'd get together, go up in the kitchen, pop popcorn, and we gave a Christmas box to every kid in the
Yeah.
town. We didn't make
There
no
was a lot of
difference
angels
what
around
he
those
was
days.
or who he was. He never come to church.
Yeah.
Well, we went down to the stores and we get some chocolate, and we get a box of Christmas candy. And then you remember back then we used to have these licorice kisses
Sticks, yeah.
with the peanut butter inside. We'd give them one of them. The box is about so long, so wide with a handle, and we'd put that in and put the popcorn in.
Yeah. Little
And-
candy and a lot of popcorn.
That's right.
Yeah, but John, I can remember when they made bags.
Yeah,
And Mrs. Barrington was my Sunday school teacher.
sure. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, red net bags
Yeah.
that had a little
Yeah.
drawstring.
Oh, yeah.
Drawstring on them.
Yeah,
Drawstring, and you
Yeah,
hung
I
those
knew.
on the tree.
Mrs.
Well,
Barrington.
the last of it, this was along towards the last. I got
Yeah, that was
said that-
before the boxes,
Well, we
I
had
think.
Yeah.
and people then, they had the Christmas trees at home, I guess, but everybody bought the Christmas to their aunts and uncles and
We
put
always
on
had
that tree.
speaking to do to, and
We always spoke,
Yeah,
I
you had
don't
to
know
speak and
how
sing.
many years I was
But
one
you
of
know, I
the
remember going
three
to that.
wise men.
Sure, sure.
And
Well-
giving a little talk and then getting
Sure.
some candy, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of fun, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
really
yeah,
does.
and
Yeah.
it was fun.
And we
And
had
the
to
box
stick it on.
socials that we had at
I
school.
don't know.
Did we have any? Do you remember any box socials where you?
I remember of them, but we were kids, we didn't go to those.
Will.
I remember
He was
hearing
our
them.
supervisor.
I know him.
But that was
He was
usually
our
at the
superintendent.
schoolhouses, as I remember
We
it.
came in.
Because
Because
we were raising money for
Deacons
something.
would take
Yeah.
the gifts.
Yeah,
And Mr. Hyde was
and
the superintendent.
Halloween, we always had a program at Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
And they were putting
speaking
things
and-
on the trees and everything.
All the goblins and ghosts
We
and
came in,
everybody
Mr.
dressed
Brown
up
said,
and
"Tiny
Bob
children
for
can
apples
play
and,
with it." And Mama said, "Yeah, go
and I
and
don't
just
know,
get
you
it."
did all kinds. It was fun for kids anyway. It was a lot of fun.
Well, I think the community enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah, the parents sit back and laugh at all the funny things happening.
Oh, yeah.
And if you could get them to participate, that was funny too. Yeah, it was,
And he
what
took
else
his
was
great
it
big
that we did?
pole
those
in the
days?
town,
The dances, the square dancing, and the,
hanging down.
we used to have, in school too, we used to have, as I remember it,
Mr. Drummond was
schools went together and exhibited all their work, and the one that had the best exhibit got a prize. I remember in Wolcott, I was up there in a school where I don't believe there was more than 12, but all grades. I mean, you skipped a few, but I mean, it was and I remember those kids working every recess, every noon, because they wanted to get the prize, and I don't think it was any money, it was just plain the recognition.
Honor.
But it was all the schools in Wolcott, and we got it. But they were so proud, they really worked hard, and there were other schools much bigger. Come in.
Dad went down.
Maybe the skiers.
And he got
Hi.
Yeah, Norris.
I know.
Here now.
He got in, he got
No, I
that
think it lost.
thing that they put the windows up and pulled it down.
Totally different.
One thing that I remember when I was a teenager, or, you know, or a little younger than teenager, driving
Because that's coming over there.
not that long ago, but still, you know, the forties.
When we were in Greensboro, they slid every night down through the village towards the bend. And either go way up on the corner, they had the red barn up there, well, whatever, go to golf club up on that corner. They might start up there, or they might start in the health center yard. And then out there at the bend, there wasn't that much traffic. Well, I don't mean the bend, at the water tub maybe, or even further.
That would be fair.
Well, we used to go, where we lived, where Johnny Grove shoot across from there, that's where we used to live. So we'd go down that hill, and then we'd go up almost part of it, where the LeBlancs used to live, and then we'd go up that, you know, and come down, and then, anyway. We used to be, we were a lot of kids, we were Grove shoot, you know,
Everybody had a Travis. I mean, that, what you do is you.
yeah, there must have been 3, 4 Travis and some big slabs.
Yeah.
And I remember often, you know, every once in a while, we'd take our turns going to someone's house. I remember stopping at my house often, and we'd make big pots of cocoa for everybody. And my mother would make toast on the stove, you know, and she'd put the stove there.
But to be a house lighting, it'd be very good.
Wouldn't that be something today if we did that?
Well, I mentioned before, the candy pulls that people used to have.
Kids would get over it, yeah.
Simple entertainment.
Down on the floor, then
Yeah,
you
we
get
had a lot
sat
of
down,
fun.
get up, so, the king of the cats.
And when my father and mother come and
I
visit,
got
they
one
share.
house, we went down there one time, Merle Allen was after him all the time.
Look at the
Yeah.
pine grocery.
They
See that?
said-
Isn't it beautiful?
Is the pine grows big there?
Yeah, she is.
Oh, he was
The
there
George is
yesterday.
out there for-
Oh, how
Haven't
beautiful.
seen him yet.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen
I
it at
just
home, I've
think-
seen just a few chickadees, and then those others that go in the barn, I don't know what they are exactly, but,
House
He said, "You
sparrows.
realize what
Maybe
you're
the
doing
brown
with
ones,
the
yellow
young
brown
man
ones.
there?"
Yeah, I've seen
He
those
said,
in
"He's
your house
burning
before.
leather." He
And
said,
I haven't-
"One of them
I've seen them
looked
during
up
sugar.
and he said,
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
George, he said,
And
"There's
what we
one
haven't seen this year, which there used to be a lot of us, couples of blue jays, you know, spiders,
Just
this year. They used to come
Bernie,
and
look
see
at the
everything,
pine
but
grows
this
big.
year there isn't
I
any.
haven't had any.
It was here
It's
yesterday.
right underneath the,
Yeah.
feeder.
Oh, yeah.
How come the squirrels aren't getting in there?
He's a beauty.
Well,
That's a
They
real
do.
beauty, yeah.
They get
There's been some right down
behind
the
now.
school down to
Well,
They're
the.
gonna give up on you.
This is the first, yesterday was the first time
Yep.
we,
Well, yesterday was the first time that we'd seen one here.
You've seen those when you walk up the road, the pine beak grows.
You want
Yes,
this,
they're in the, they're sitting eating
Yeah,
salt
here's
or
your bag.
something off the road.
Yeah.
Chair over here.
well,
One got
good
killed.
luck to
there.
you.
Really?
They don't
Right.
go too bad.
One was killed.
Oh.
Yeah, sit over here, John, don't take it.
Not
Right
John, Donald. Donald, yeah, we've changed.
here.
Bye.
Well, new entertainment.
Yes.
We've been through all the theater groups and.
Chautauquas.
Chautauquas.
That's what we're talking about today, is the entertainment of a long time ago, things we did for entertainment.
I still don't understand the Red Path Chautauquas. They're just, when did they start coming, in the 20s, 30s?
Well, let's see.
That'd be with me being in the 20s.
The 20s. And it was a
Sure,
group that
well,
went
no,
around.
wait a minute.
No, before that.
Judas Priest would be before the 20s. But just before I went to Veranda, it was
You're
before the 20s.
Oh, yeah.
When I was a kid, you know.
Turn of the century.
But weren't they still, if I vaguely remember going to them, it must have been in the 20s.
Haven't been.
Well, they may have continued, but I think they
Continue.
started
But I can
early in that
remember way
because I
back.
was a kid.
Yeah.
I would say I
Before-
was 8 or 10
before the
and
20s.
I'm 76, so you see, it would be a long time
In
ago.
Crashbury, I remember the Surrey. And,
Yeah.
But you said they were in the town hall in Craftsbury.
yeah, they were in the town
John said they
hall
were in a
Crashbury.
tent in Hardwick.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's where-
Mildred Cook took us down there with a horse and buggy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah? Down to Crashbury, you mean?
No, down to.
Green-
Hardwick.
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 Yeah.
And I think one time Dr. Alan Stockdale spoke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
yeah, he
John
did.
said.
That's what, you know.
Yeah.
I can remember him down there.
But that was good. That was really first class entertainment. It wasn't
Yeah.
slapstick
That's
stuff.
true.
It was good. It was
Now,
good.
who's Stockdale? He's a well-known.
He was a minister that used to summer here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's well known.
Had to-
Well, for the guys that he have, I mean, I don't know where he came from, but he used to ride horseback with the horses up at Robinson's. I can remember him after we moved down to the village of him driving up, walking up
Didn't
down
he
the
have a
road with
camp
his
right over
horses.
the other side of Barry?
What about
Camp
Robin?
John
Yeah.
down
Do you
in
remember
there.
when they did have horses and they used a track or something?
I've heard about it. I don't.
Has
I
it
never,
Clyde.
They had races
Right.
up there at one time,
Right.
from all
Where they,
reports.
Yeah.
That's right.
I know it was right down
Donald
there
may know
somewhere.
about it.
He had a camp there.
Almost all the entertainment, though, either had to do with church or school,
But
didn't
they
it?
used-
Except the dances.
They used to have down to, the bend there, they had Uncle Tom's cabin
Oh, yes.
come around there
And Tom Thumb.
and.
You remember that
Yeah.
they came they came around and somebody from town played the leading
Yeah,
role.
yeah.
And then they had other actors do the other and people for teaching you how to do it.
Where
And then there was the
Before
Nellie Gill players
Yes.
that came around.
That's
Yeah.
what John talked about.
The Nellie Gill players.
Uh-huh.
Norman Duffer used to travel with them.
Oh,
That's the
No, I-
hotel owner.
Yeah, well, yeah, Norman, Raymond's brother.
Raymond's brother.
I still don't understand why John didn't know anything about the hypnotism, because they used to hypnotize people on the stage, and that, to me, I mean, that always stuck out of my memory as a kid. Do you remember anything about people hypnotizing?
Sort of magic show.
Would come
wasn't it?
around with a show
Yeah,
and they would ask people to somebody that would
Medicine
volunteer
shows,
and
wasn't it,
they
there?
they'd have them doing all kinds of funny things, like rolling up their pants and dancing around. Nothing bad, but just doing funny things that made you laugh, you know. And then pull them out of it, and they claimed they never remembered anything about it, so I guess they really did.
Do you remember when, well, those people came around with the ponies? They had quite a number of ponies, and then they'd take them up in the town hall, and they would get, I remember Clarence Mitchell came down,
That's
he would run
Morrison,
on
yeah.
them.
Was that pony basketball?
Yeah, donkey
Yeah.
basketball.
Donkey
No,
basketball.
pony basketball.
No, it was the regular pony show, and you,
Oh, a show.
yeah, they had them up in the town hall. Clarence Mitchell came down, and he was there, and he finally got onto one of them. They give him so long to stay on the pony.
Oh, I remember something
How'd they
about
get them up in the
that.
town hall? They walk right up the
Oh, go right
stairs?
up the stairs.
Every little
They're
ponies.
trained, must be.
Well, I had a little pony that later out on the pier had it, and that little pony would follow right to school, and he would come in the house, and you couldn't keep him out. Little cream colored, the people over there, Woodruff's, had bought him from.
Donald, they had one, and oh boy, I pounded that pony. You could take that pony over there, don't you know, and you could pound it, oh brother. It would get up there, and how it would open that train door, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
But
still
I'd
a
go
grain.
out, and there I'd find that pony in there, eating grain. I'd tell those kids about it, don't you know.
You don't do any good.
Gosh, that
Oh,
would
the
all
Woodward
come out, so
kids
they
didn't
wouldn't-
care. That was,
dear,
you
they
know.
Wasn't their green.
No,
Oh, gosh, a boy there today.
Now, how's
Three
that,
girls.
their pony has got it loose from their house?
oh, they let him out to feed, you know, around,
Yeah.
and
Well,
he
where
just
do they
come.
live?
Well, over to Cedar Rock, and just this side of Cedar Rock is the Woodward place.
That's who I sold it to.
Right.
Then
Yeah,
for-
and oh, that pony was mean.
Yeah, I
It
raised
would
it.
kick and bite and everything.
And
Oh,
then
it
I
was
sold
big.
it, and then they sold it
It was
to
just
Alpha
a,
Pete.
just a little, just a
Oh,
small
my,
pony, you
that
know.
pony caused me more trouble
But
on
he,
Little
we
cream
always
color.
felt after
Yeah.
that ponies,
Oh,
all
dear,
ponies
oh,
must be
dear.
miserable.
So this is like Tom Woodward when he was
Yeah.
a kid?
They didn't write
Yeah.
it enough to say so, but oh boy, they,
That would run
Must be
loose
a
and that
pile
would
of
get
trouble.
into our grain, and they never seemed to, they never took care of anything much, you know. I mean, they just didn't. They sort of ran all over.
That John
Kids and
Armstrong,
all.
oh, brother.
John Armstrong and this Armstrongs used to stay at the house. And Mrs. Armstrong, that would be young John's grandmother,
Yeah.
she was there. And had that pony hitched out there to a pole right, my dad had built a garage, you know, right
Yeah.
at the end of the barn. Had that pony hitched out there. And that little son of a gun kicked that John Armstrong right in the head like that.
Oh.
Knocked him end over end. And he cried some, and finally Mrs. Armstrong came in. She says, I hope that's knocked some sense into him. Thank God.
I've seen that pony, you know, and one of them get onto it and try to make it go, and you know. And they couldn't make that pony move, don't you know, and it lived more than you can make a,
Stubborn as a mule.
oh, stubborn, I guess it was stubborn.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
We used to let them ride them up through the village. Some of them would come and ride. I had 3 or 4 ponies. And they used to take them, they'd go up some of them would go up to the top of the hill, turn around and come back. Then somebody else wanted to go further, and that pony wouldn't go. So I
He
got
was
onto
smart
it,
myself.
and got onto him and trimmed him out a little bit and I didn't go up by there. God.
We used to put on minstrel shows too. right?
Yes.
We haven't mentioned
Yes,
that.
that's right. We
Oh,
definitely.
yeah.
The
that's
school
right,
did it,
too.
didn't they?
Yeah.
Or other groups or?
Well,
town groups?
adults did
Adults
too.
did them, I think. a
Yeah, I
lot,
guess
too.
so.
I can remember.
And of course, that's a no-no now, I suppose.
Yeah. What about like Miss Jean's? When did that start? She had plays every summer for a long,
At Shakespeare
long time.
plays,
Yeah.
they were always in Greensboro and
Yes. But
East
that
Stratford.
must have started a long time. It was quite a long time ago.
way back, I don't know when. You remember?
No, it was about,
Long time.
1930s and ways, I suppose.
must have been a long
It was
earlier.
back when I was in high school, at least, I think, because it seemed to me that that's where it was a lot more fun to go to those places and learn about the Shakespeare plays was to read about it, because I couldn't understand that language.
I
But
remember
I'm not
those,
sure.
because there'd be 2 or 3 fellows that dress up as Negroes, and we'd always sit on the end chairs, you know.
Well, you're talking about the minstrel shows.
Yeah, the minstrel shows,
Oh,
up in with the school,
Yeah.
as kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was always the lead man, what did you call him? He was, and then there was always the dumb
Yeah,
wit that,
they always could make jokes back and
Yeah.
forth,
Back
yeah.
and forth, yes, like Amos and
Yeah.
Andy, I suppose.
Remember going clear to Randolph one night to go visit Irwin's minstrel show down there, and I think it took us all morning night to get back home again because of tire trouble or something.
Oh, yeah.
and then there were the basketball games,
Yeah.
and Hardwick was the one we hated the most.
Oh,
The
yeah.
one we had to beat, and we very seldom
You're
did.
talking about Craftsbury, but it
Oh,
was the
yeah,
same in
Crestwood.
Greensboro.
Oh, yeah, Hardwick, well, it was the largest school and they had more to choose from anyway. And
Of course,
so-
there's a lot of competition between Greensboro and Craftsbury, but I think the feeling was stronger with
Yeah,
Hardwick.
I think if it came, those two would join together against Hardwick
Oh,
anytime.
definitely. Here we have a Hardwick resident over here,
Yeah.
ex-Hardwick resident.
That's
Yeah,
all
but
right.
When we come to the town team, I remember about Cramers, to Hardick, we used to rub it to them. I remember we used to beat them once in a while
Oh, I
too.
bet you did.
Yeah, we did. Take it back when George Piper and Andrew Willie and Robert Woolley and John Hyger and
Mr.
We used-
Logan.
yeah, Mr. Vogan played with us too.
Senator.
I'm beginning to think, I wonder if they ever did any work.
You
With
what?
all these things we used to do, you wonder when they did any work.
The days were longer back then.
They didn't have to stop and watch TV between times, they kept going.
That's a biggie. Lots of
And they
things we're
didn't have
doing
to
now.
travel so far to go to work either.
No.
They just went out the door.
So, you want some apple juice or tea or coffee?
Apple juice is good. But like Grace's, it was a good thing when we used to go to play basketball with Danville, go down, go over on the train.
Yeah,
And then
Yeah.
stay overnight at the hotel over there and come back the next day.
My goodness, that was really
Go to
playing
Hyde
ball
Park
in
the same
style.
way.
Yeah, in high school,
Yep, go down on the train.
time I got there, they'd got beyond that, because I don't ever remember doing that way.
I want you to try one of those, because I caught that fish and I smoked it, and I want to see if you don't like it.
It's good, delicious.
And rest of you, help yourselves. You
I
want a
think I
cookie?
have,
You
yeah.
want a cookie?
No,
I
thank
have-
you, no, I help myself plenty.
Mr. Terrell started with his music. I don't know when that started either, because when we were kids, we used to walk down, down the lane there and listen. But he must have started that in the 30s or before.
Yeah, it was
Because
early.
Bronwyn was just a young girl when she came up and, was,
Came
I
up
think
with a group.
her husband, or future husband at that time, was driving to be boating, with all these young people from New York that came up to sing. And then he was giving them rides on the lake. That's how she met him.
Well, did some local people go to those concerts
yeah,
while
we-
everybody went?
We used to go walking, from our home and just sit outdoors, and some people came by boat, they had, there was a lot of people from everywhere.
My sister worked there, I think they were still doing it then when she was there, that would be.
It'd be interesting to know when that started.
Yeah.
that would be
Because
like
they
the
still- they
40s or later,
continue in
They
mid-40s.
continued, yes, that.
For quite a long
But
time.
he brought in singers and, I think he had an organ too in that, one of the big buildings there. And so they did, we didn't go to that though, we didn't see we didn't hear the singers. But they must have had programs for some of the town. Do you remember anything about seeing those singers?
Yes, he brought the Riverside Private
Yeah.
Choir.
Yeah.
He brought them up
Isn't that
here.
how Bronwyn?
That's how she came.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how she came here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And stayed.
They had a picture of the old church. We had the steeple was in the middle then.
Yes.
when you speak about having your antiques and like that down here to the town hall, are you going to have them down there and have it fixed so that you're going to be safe on it?
Have it safe so that
Yeah.
people can't get down there. That's the problem, trying to figure out how to have it so that it's locked up but still available for people to see. And that's the whole,
Because now you see they even broke in, don't you know, the brownies in them.
that's right.
That's the
And
problem
I've got
with it.
stuff down here that George Fella had, don't you know, all his planes that he made
Yeah.
molding with. And then I've got some of his great big wooden planes that he used. And, well, there's quite a lot of money in those, by gosh. There really is. That fellow's from Cabot, don't you know,
Yeah.
I get hold of. And I did awful that, put those
I know,
down there,
I know.
somebody.
Yeah.
But nobody can guarantee it, because
No, I don't
even
think so.
the museum in Bennington, was it, or something, you know, all those paintings?
I'd certainly like to have somebody
Yes,
love
but,
me down here, I mean, you know, because. it's,
Well, I'd like to have it a place where people go a lot.
I know
but I
it,
don't
sure.
know why they would go there a lot, unless there's something else happening there, like a craft shop or something.
Yeah.
Almost
And
like
then
there's someone there.
Yeah, so that there's somebody there for a reason,
Yeah.
and then the antiques would be there as the decoration for whatever place it is.
I've got all the planes that old Elmer Babcock had.
You have?
I bought them to the auction up there.
That was, when was that auction?
Because it'd be hard to put them in behind
Oh,
the glass.
when,
Foster
when
Babcock.
Foster Babcock, sure,
Sure.
sure. Did you, in that house up by Donald, did you go upstairs in that house?
Mhm.
Did you notice all of that woodwork, all of the doors and everything, all made out of bird's eye maple? And beautiful bird's eye maple.
Yes.
I mean, it is,
It was plastered with bird's
just
eye.
plastered. All of the doors and all of your casings and everything.
This is where the
Mop
carts
boards.
live
Is
now.
it rare?
Huh?
I mean,
So the
bird's eye
carts
maple
live
must
there?
be rare or something?
They're all
I think
bird's eye
it's
maple
pretty
and
special,
it's
yeah.
beautiful
Must
bird's
be
eye
more
maple
rare.
too.
Do they ever have much of it anymore?
Who did that? Who built it?
It still is.
I-
What is
Who
it? What makes
You
it
know
bird's eye
anything about
maple
who built
anyway?
that?
Is it
It has
special?
little, it has little,
I don't know either.
they aren't knots, but
No,
they're,
little-
they're little
yes.
eyes like,
But where does
all
it
over.
come from?
You look right in the
The
school
tree,
floor.
it's
lot of
a,
bird's eye maple
it
in the
happens
school
right in the
floor.
Really?
tree.
Laura, show her your
Like little
box.
squirrels and.
Are they
But
rare
what?
though? I mean, or it
Toolbox.
must be, it has to be rare, because otherwise why would they talk about it?
Bird's eye maple,
Well, it's
you
so
said.
Oh, that's right,
It's so
yeah.
pretty, I guess.
Oh,
They just come once in a while in a tree, or?
Oh, no, you find quite a lot.
The whole
Oh, you
tree.
find
when
quite
The
a lot
whole
of it?
tree, yeah.
oh, but you don't find there's not many trees
Oh,
left.
no, you don't find too many trees.
I've made 10 clocks right now, and I got 3 of them all made out of bird's eye maple.
You have, yeah, well, it's.
I get a little bit more for those.
Sure,
Yeah, yes.
it's,
And it just happens in a tree?
Right now I get,
Bernie has a toolbox, I use it for my sewing thing, and it's bird's eye maple.
That's bird's eye
the
maple.
box is that.
Oh.
That come from
Oh, yeah.
Sam Campbell's over here, that toolbox.
Isn't it amazing,
Those trays.
Oh, the inside of that
All the
All the
toolbox.
inside
insides
nature,
are-
I mean, but it's amazing, is there some way
Made
that
like that.
nature explains that, there's no way of explaining it, just.
No, that's the way it grows.
That's
I don't know
garbage.
how they tell that it's that way, can they? When they saw it, can
when
they
they
tell?
split it or do
When they
something
split
like
it or
that.
something.
But
Sometimes
at
they
that
get
time,
into
then
a
it wouldn't
wood
be this
pile,
long,
they
maybe.
saw it, and saw one and split it, then they notice it's bird's eye
Can't,
maple, they roll it right
I've
out.
heard too, Donald, if a fella knows his bark, and he can tell by the bark now. Is there anything to that?
I don't
I've
know.
heard that now, I don't know, but I've heard
And
that.
it's just something that happens. And any
Yeah.
old maple is sugar maple?
Sugar maple.
Yeah.
I've got a table downstairs, down to the house that Lester finally made for me. I wanted him to do it. And it's tiger birch. Tiger birch, and the boards, each leaf is that wide. And my dad saw the log for Albert Young, and he saw what it was, and he rolled it off and one side, and asked Albert if he wanted to sell it, and said he did. Or he wanted just some boards, so my dad bought it. And I made 2, 3 tables out of it. And I've got one at home.
Tiger birch, is that something
Tiger
that
birch.
happens in birch? bark
And I've got a
wood?
tiger maple. I've got a tiger maple.
Must be stripes
Yeah.
or something in the wood.
Well, it's
Kinda.
very,
Curly, is it?
yeah, kind of curly.
We got 2 tables here that Lester made, and it was a birch, it come from, you remember Jimmy Lack over here? Upstairs and that long building over there? Well, when he was alive there and used to have his wood pile and everything like that, you know, if he'd had a good lumber log, he'd save it out, you know, and take it to the mill and have it sawed up. Well, the last that I was ever over there, take it back in 1918, when I used to take care of it, when they'd go to the fair up Sherbert, don't you know. That place up there was just full of hardwood lumber, don't you know. And Elmont bought some of it when Jimmy Black left there, don't you see. He bought some of it, and there was quite a little of it here when I come here, see. And I had less than
Aren't my stair risers made of that?
yeah, it's made
my
of
stair
that too.
risers are
We had
made
enough
that.
of it so that when we made the stair risers in the year after, Gay used it for that, but
We got, I got quite a little bit of stuff from, what's his name? Chris O'Rourke's, Richard O'Rourke. He works in the piano, piano, or saw out piano stock down in Morrisville.
Oh.
And he saves out quite a lot for me. Because it's odd, and you know, and you go up to Orleans, and I did get some up there a while, because they can't use it. They throw it out, they can't mix it in with their other wood like this here.
yeah.
I've got Bernie's mother's bird's eye maple barrel. It's an old thing, something that's been.
In fact, I've got two chest of drawers and a secretary that are all bird's eye maple.
I think that's the first time I've seen it. I keep hearing people talking about it.
Oh,
That's the first I've seen birds.
I'd forgotten about the inside of that. I knew about I didn't know how I was gonna bring the barrel down. But when Bernie was talking about my showing you bird's eye maple, I'd forgotten that
Oh, that,
Well,
toolbox
I
is
bought that over
a fancy
to
one.
yeah, yeah.
Sam Campbell's, the auction. I give $35 for that chest. It's all oil, and they'd stored tools in it there. Clark had, you remember Clark? He had tools in there and everything like that. And Forrest Dunbar, well, he started here. Before I left, he come around, wanted to know if I'd sell it to him. I says, no, I'm not going to sell it till I get it fixed up. Well, I didn't know whether I could clean it up a lot, don't you know. Well, I took it up in the shop there, and I cleaned it up.
And then I took it over. When I saw it,
She's
it makes
gone
a wonderful
working.
sewing.
And nabbed onto it now, and it's in the living room.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, I do just find it for.
Oh my
Where's your
goodness.
brother?
Well, I don't think he got lost.
He
You know,
called and said he was
I
coming,
know,
but
but
now
you
it's
see,
almost short time,
we
isn't
did
it?
that. No, we don't
Oh,
start until
you
about 5. But the thing is, we started coming up here once before, and we never made it. So I said, "You don't have a map or anything," and they were going off the same way. And they're just in the middle of.
He
the
wasn't
sometimes.
walking.
He was skiing.
They were
should've
skiing?
been- Yeah, but they
Oh,
never.
brother.
They never know the way.
No telling why they lived
They
up.
went up by George Hills and up to Oles, and then
Yeah.
we one time we didn't want to bring the dogs, and we didn't want to. Oh, we
walk both ways.
Yeah, but Laurette would like to walk, so we'll walk. Anyway, so now I don't know where to go. Once before we got up to Oles, that pond, and we went up to a big field, and then there was some woods, and we went a ways, and then we said somehow on the other side of that you must live. But anyway, it was late, so we turned around and went back. So we've never yet seen, where we go wrong.
If you go from George's up through,
Yeah.
must be right up, you see, the trail from out here goes right straight up across there, and must be that road, you know, the road that went up through, goes up through, what's the name?
Right through Olds, yeah.
Come,
You take the
Trail comes
Bar
right-
Hill Road and you can
Yeah.
go on the continuation of that. And we have a signpost that says 9, and that's where you turn off
9.
down to Atherton.
Yeah, well, we didn't turn left, you see. I think I've been seeing that
Probably
sign
kept right on
before.
Oh, you can get lost though, at least
Well,
in
it
the
doesn't say, the
summertime,
sign
not in the
doesn't
winter
say
when it's
Atherton,
supposed
it
to.
says
No,
In the
Lodge.
summertime,
Yeah, it says
Colleen,
Lodge, yeah.
My friend from Danville and I were out walking, we got lost, we got way off up to Kellogg's before we knew where we were, when it was raining, pouring.
Yeah. Well, one time we went for a walk too, and first thing we knew, we were above a year in the road somewhere. We quite often on Sunday's the only day, but once in a
I'll
while
tell
we
you what,
take
you
off.
should stop by and get a ski map sometime at the lodge.
I think we should, yes, especially for them. If they keep getting lost like that all the time, I'll tell them. But we did get, that map that they have for the summer up there at the conservatory or
No,
whatever
take
they
it down
show
the
the
summer
trips. So
too
that
hot
doesn't mean
for
anything.
summer.
That's what
But
they
we
were
got it
looking at.
because of the bright orange and warm.
When's the last
That's
one
why
I
we
was
got
sitting
it.
there
In the summer, it's
reading, I
just
think
too
it was
hot.
last winter.
It's nice.
I sit in there, road was
Yeah,
round
that brown, is that the
after
sun
dark,
woman that
quite a
does
little
the
after dark.
painting on the
No, I don't
Go all
know,
by my
that's
lonesome.
Drown, I don't know who
Heard
that
this
is, G.
rat
Drown.
on
I
the
just-
picture
we
window
just
there.
call it because it
I looked
cheered
up, now that man stood
certainly
there throwing
does.
skis on, but you know,
Yeah.
he tried to motion and talk, well, I
I've
couldn't
got
hear
a
him, so I come
farmhouse
round.
thing that I put
They wanna
up,
know where
and
whites
I-
lived.
well,
That's
I've got some
the
others. I've
The
got
way to where
Whites
whites lived, that's the word I don't.
Yeah, we've had a lot getting lost in
Well, I'm
Ohio
getting all the
Lodge,
way
you know,
now,
in the
except
past.
the
Yeah.
They go
the
down
one
by
I
the
don't
pond or
like
something, then they
very
come
much,
up
but it's in
and
there.
they
But,
wonder
my
where the
niece
Ohio
wanted
Lodge
the-
is.
the one
And
with
what
the
dear
water
Ted was
and
bringing the
trees.
picture he took,
And
remember the
yeah,
one time we
yeah.
came here, he had took a
She wanted
picture of
that
you
since
and
she
Laura.
took it.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
put them
He was
all
looking
away
at
now.
that, and he had that in his
Except this one,
pocket,
I
and a
don't
few
think
others, I
anybody
guess,
likes that
but
much. I
I don't think he's gonna make it up here.
Which one's that?
So that's in the living room. One. It's not much.
We go walking, Laura and I, a lot out back in the summertime, we go over to Victor's shop and
yes.
go down through there,
Yeah.
out around, a lot of evenings. It's nice to walk.
It's nice to walk, yeah. When we go out on Sundays, we try to go somewhere, whether it's a walk or skiing. But last time, we missed once in a while for some things come up. But today we were very late anyway because we all went to choir practice, and I didn't get home till 10 or 1 or so. And then had to have
And
dinner.
the walk up here is pretty far from your
Didn't
house.
seem to be too bad. And now we're all downhill, so it's gonna be great.
Except you gotta go over the hump at the
Yeah,
lodge.
you can enjoy your pancakes because you know you're gonna walk them off.
Too bad you haven't got skis on now, because you could go just ride on down to your
Well, I'm not
house.
crazy about that. I got my skis are already, but Laurette doesn't care too much about skis, so that's why I offered. I think the best thing, you know,
It's just a walk.
We are going to that flower show now.
Oh,
Excellent,
you are, good.
excellent.
You're not going, are
No,
you?
I'm not going.
No.
Well, I thought of it, but I'm going to Portland Friday for the weekend for
Oh, yes.
a conference there, so I couldn't see both.
Oh, yes. And then Jeanette called me about she's not interested, well, she knows all about these trips, which I never knew about. There's one in Ottawa, but there's one, the last part of May, we'll be gone, well, at least 3 nights, that goes up to Maine.
Yeah,
And-
yeah, she said she was hoping she'd
I was
convince you
going
to go with her.
see, yes, I was going to see, I thought maybe she'd be here today, but I
Well,
haven't
she
seen
was afraid of the
paper.
weather, the
Oh.
snow.
Well, I'll stop in and see her after the show. I'll wait and call and tell her I'll stop in sometime after the flower show. I'll
If you're
try that
really
one
interested in
first.
that Maine trip, you maybe better get your
Yeah.
reservation
Well-
in, because it's been out quite a little while now. I
Oh,
got the
yes.
information quite a little while ago.
Are you going?
No, I'm not
No.
going.
Well, I'll have to, I think so, it'll be too late. by
Some of those fill up pretty
Wednesday,
fast, that's
Oh,
why
Oh, well, it could
Mention
be
it.
maybe like tomorrow, I could maybe go down right after dinner, but Ted's got a dental appointment tomorrow afternoon too.
I hope the weather's good tomorrow. We got to go to
Ruth
St.
Campbell's
John's.
there,
I
and
don't like to
she had
drive
the-
on the road to that
No, but they said something about sleet.
in the afternoon,
Yeah,
but I'm
the barn,
hoping,
you
well,
know.
I'll
Oh,
cancel.
yeah,
I have to.
yeah.
And I had to go in the house and
I don't want to.
No.
I
We
asked her
still went to
something.
Dr.
and I
Kennedy
went in
for the
and
teeth, was that
one of
your son, I guess?
these
went
Fiddleback
to-
chairs sat there.
To the dentist?
Oh,
Doctor,
good
remember you
shape.
telling me once that
We
I
used
saw
to-
you?
we used to go.
Oh, you used to go, you don't go to Dr.
I go to
Kennedy?
Dr. Kennedy, and I guess
Oh,
Arthur still
yeah,
does
she says,
so.
and I got
Yeah.
I'm
five more.
thinking, I haven't made an appointment yet, I was just wanting to make an appointment when I could
Yeah,
tell the
he
road's
told
gonna be
me.
good.
I says, I'll be back.
Yeah,
But I didn't have
I've
no
been going to
money.
him for
Yeah.
years.
I
Debbie
said,
didn't
I'll
like
be
it
back
too well, she
just
thought he
so I
was
can
rough.
get down to the house and get a
But
check.
I don't know.
Whose
Much
house was
choice. He
that?
seems to do a
Oh,
good job.
yeah.
He seems to hold up quite pretty well.
in Morrisville.
The Campbell, Ruth Campbell.
Oh, where?
Up at the corner there.
In Morrisville.
But Albert Young
Well,
we
was
like
born
him,
there.
yeah.
There was a young
I
fellow
went to
named
Dr. Guffman in
Albert
Morrisville.
Young,
Yeah.
Robert Young.
Switched over to
And
Kennedy.
see,
Where's
Albert
Kennedy,
Young and
Morrisville?
Albert-
St. John's.
St. Johnsbury, yes.
Albert
I
Young.
went to Harvard, but I have always a lot of people who do usually, I've got, he put in 2
George
phones, one
and
on
Mary
one side, one
Young,
on the other side,
and
and
they
they're both
came here
wacko
from
in the front.
Scotland.
And,
settled
you know, like one of them I paid
here
over
Earl
$54, and the next I paid
Okay.
2
They
fillings
came with
of
12
$90-something dollars, and I
Well,
think he's
and
too
they-
high.
According to the prices that Arthur had with the kids, they're terrible.
Two of
prices.
the,
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere.
Two
No,
sisters.
it's much cheaper.
married, one married more.
It wouldn't say- I mean,
George
Better. I think I'll
Kennedy
try
is
Dr.
much cheaper.
Kennedy.
And
yeah.
another sister
Because there
married
wasn't no competition.
Allie
See, Harvard
Yeah.
there's no competition, except he doesn't begin that, you know, used to be a lot of people in the office.
And
now
that
there's
is
no
the,
one there.
that's the farm, the camel
Right.
farm that became the
And
Peel
then they call
farm.
up
And
and
Yeah.
that's,
do one ahead of time.
That was a
if you want
Campbell
to.
farm.
and it was a young farm
That
before
was a
that.
young
About
farm
your
before
place
that.
here.
Yeah, you can't
Jenny
take it, they're gonna
Campbell.
walk because it would freeze,
Married,
but,
uh,
I'll
Okay.
take that, I'll put
Oh,
one in
that is
the
beautiful.
water for you. You want one? Do you want me to put one in the water? I'll show you how I do it. I'll show you how it's done.
Look at all the.
Can you take them
Like
off?
Dorothy's
How long did
grandfather,
it take you to get to that
great
point?
grandfather,
Oh, I
my
had
great
that
grandfather
for,
sing first.
This is the second
Her
year.
My
grandfather
great grandfather.
and your grandfather.
Shelley's a great
See what I
grandfather.
do,
just put a piece of
over a glass like that to make a slit.
So you were young too?
And then just
No,
stick
she's
the
white.
down in there.
You're
My
white too.
grandmother was a white.
In
Okay.
there, and then just, and it keeps it
That's
upright.
right, you're
It doesn't
related
get
to
the-
everybody.
you don't wanna
The
get
Urie's,
caught
the
in
young.
My mother
Young's
was
the
a young,
whites.
but a different, we have different young apparently,
They're different.
but they all came from Scotland.
And how long do you wait, I mean, when
Or
you.
wait until it.
So they're probably the same family way back.
Yeah, yeah. Or sometimes I don't even wait that long if it's got a bulb
Yeah.
on the end. It kind of makes a little bulb
Yeah.
like that.
And is there any special soil? Just.
No, they don't.
As I say,
You know,
as
they said
I
that
just
3/4
put
of the
in some
people in
rotted manure
Greensboro,
in the bottom.
or
And some
every
garden
grandfather used to tell me
soil,
that when I
or
used to go up and help hay, and we were all,
just put in
3/4
some-
of us were all related.
And then,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
use,
geez.
I use
When
hydrous
the,
once in a while when I water
Riches
'em.
and the Simpsons and the Gillises and the,
Use that kind, but I've used.
Well, any of it, doesn't matter.
Spears
See, if it's
and
got
then,
5, 10, 5, or,
down
you know,
Debbie,
it depends, you don't want too much nitrogen,
was,
because it would grow,
McCullum.
you want the,
they were all
The tin is
related
what
before
makes
they
it
came from
blossom.
Scotland.
so.
All cousins came or something?
And they were all,
Hydrous.
up around
But
this
any,
area, were all
And you
very
don't
much
have to have
related. The
that in
Wilsons,
the Miracle-Gro. But this is the idea is to fix it so that
like
what
Robert
water will get on the
Wilson's
leaves.
grandfather, Mike, it was
I'll put one going
Aunt
for you.
Florence's
Yeah.
father.
I've got some others that want, so I'll put it.
This is where my head starts spinning.
Well,
Yeah.
even the ones of us who know about it can get spun up.
And then that's the same Youngs as in Craftsbury that are related to.
Robert Young that was up there and Wendell Young and those were the
Well, I
same.
think we
I'm
got
glad you
Mhm.
came.
Well, it was a lot of fun.
No.
It's interesting to talk about.
When you get over the edge of Glover, you hear a lot of youngs.
If
And,
you bring in
they
a lot
tie
of
in with
people
my
so
mother's
that there's
family.
interaction.
you see, they're
And her
all
name's-
Scotch, but
she's
the
a
next thing
Young.
is to make the connection between the two families.
And your mother was a Young?
But it was young in that area.
Howard Finley's wife was another white.
Yeah, there was a connection there.
And Ori Anderson's mother was a white too.
These are Craftsbury Andersons?
Well, Ori Anderson lives right where Bob Kinsley lives now.
And were you from Greensboro, or were you from?
Craftsbury.
From Craftsbury.
Yeah, and then they were tied in with the Fars too
Oh, I
that
was
I'm
going to
related
show
to.
you.
The Farrers?
Far, F-A-R.
Fire.
This was my father's family. He's not there.
And some
but
of the whites,
that-
and
all his
Jewel,
brothers and sisters, I
married
think he
into
must have
the,
taken the picture, because my father was
Oh,
there, all the
yes.
rest
what
of
was
them.
their names?
Yes.
My grandfather
Have their
and
name right
grandmother, and he was a
that
civil
Dunn?
servant.
Duns,
and
that's
his
a Dunn
birthday was
family.
first
That's a
of
Dunn
July,
family.
and we always celebrated it, the whole family, which was.
When they got all done, there was 10 in
75
that family, I think. And when they got all done, they didn't have more than
Nice
3 or
looking
4
Four girls.
the grandchildren named, it'd be grandchildren named white.
And my
Yeah.
grandmother,
Very few.
my grandfather was,
The men
well,
didn't
he
seem to.
wasn't too
you know, the name didn't
My
carry through too well.
grandmother, She was,
I
she was one
haven't,
of the
the last
family.
time I was down
She-
to Worcester,
all
I
the
didn't go and
grandchildren
see
minded her.
Glenn Lang. I didn't go
Yeah.
and see
Yeah.
it.
We didn't see it.
I didn't see it. I was
Well, they
planning
wore
to go
long,
that
long
month.
dresses like that,
We had
yeah.
to come
But
home.
dark ones probably.
But dark ones, yeah.
She's
Yeah.
Paints
90.
something, how's Bernie's
She must
handy,
be
you get some
It was
help.
terrible.
She must
His
have been
his
well
legs
enough,
are,
You get some help.
no, we've been.
I'll never forget that orange.
His legs are
Big
so hard.
He always used to drive 4-horse team. So when he went to Bend to get grain, he always had a 4-horse team. And the lead team was a small pair of horses. And over home, that's the old farm we had.
But I'm just.
It'd generally be, he'd go to Bend, and when it'd generally be just about shore time when he'd
Yes.
be going back home with his load of grain.
And
Start down that hill right there, you know.
his legs are so hard.
And my God, we can hear him out there in the barn yelling at that lead team and going down the hill there. But the whole team would almost run over because we'd always run to the window there, to the barn. I can remember that. I'd run into the window, looking out because we know the Dora Anderson going down so with this load of grain or so, and he'd always driving this 4-horse team. And well, I think the whole team, you know, could have pulled all. What grain? He'd always have on good load, but the whole team would always tug the chain and all be loose, so, you know, and he'd be yelling at them to get out of the way, and put right down through that. The downhill all the way in the way. I can always remember that, him hollering that.
He didn't get home very early from chores, did he?
No, he never did. That was the winter time, you know. No, sir, he never, he didn't like that. It'd always be just about time that we'd be at the barn and doing chores. I remember that. He did that too. As that goes, old Laura.
He had a pretty loud voice.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But you know, a thing that always amazed me too was when, well, Carter was one, always had a cult or two, you know. And Spears up here,
Yep.
they'd come to the village. And I've seen a time when they thought there'd be 8 or 10 little cults in the village. And they'd go off different ways, and they never paid any attention, and all of a sudden the old mare would winter, that colt would take right off and go.
They drive the team with a colt tagging along behind.
Tag along behind or beside of it or going anywhere he wanted to.
Completely loose.
They were all loose.
Yeah, just came with the mother.
Came with the mother. They'd load up there with the grain, and those colts would be running around there. Raymond Newfound and I tried to catch one.
Yeah.
God, we had the time of our lives. Didn't get a hold of it. And the people would laugh at you because the guard you first was on your back, you'd get a hold of it.
Whoa, boy.
Damn, you'd go.
Yeah.
So it was good times, and I don't know how many miles I've taken a wagon tire off of a buggy wagon and a stick. Start with one.
You did that with the hoops?
Yeah,
With the
yeah, I
sticks?
can remember doing that.
God, roll them up the street there, and then we tried to go with 2.
Another thing
On the
too-
dirt. Walked on the dirt. Dirt road.
Another thing us kids used to do. That was with John Gibby, don't you know, lived down there where the Gibbies lived, don't you know?
Yeah.
Firestone. In the wintertime. We go take our bowl, don't you know? Pitch up a bowl
Yeah.
into an old sleigh we had, don't you know?
Yeah,
Put a harness onto it.
yeah, you got lost, didn't you?
We didn't have no bits in his mouth, but we'd have a strap across his nose, that's from the line going
The
one way
girls
to the
are
other.
just ready to start home.
We'd always
They're
hit
getting their things
that
on,
bull
they
up,
said they
don't you
thought
know?
you must have got lost.
And drive down the rock, down to old John.
That's where they are, they home.
And quite often get John, don't you know, he'd hitch his bowl up. Then we'd drive down the
Yeah,
rock.
Willie says
Rob
that
would
you
hitch
should
his
stop
bowl
at
up.
the lodge and get
And
the
we'd
map.
either drive out towards East Craftsbury, don't you know, or up the other way. The three of us would have bulls. It'd be Roy, Perron and I in their team, and then of course John, he was alone, Rob was alone. So,
Yeah.
right, I remember that driving those darn bulls.
The trail goes
My
right by the
gosh.
garden, you know, goes right through there, garden.
Yeah,
I remember one time my dad sent me up to
Well, you had
Henry
to get
McLaughlin's
fun,
to
didn't you?
get a horses shot.
yeah.
Yeah,
He gods it before I got done, I brought a goat home
okay,
with me.
okay.
Oh God, that old Henry, them goats, and
Everything else.
Yep. He certainly
They
did.
got lost.
They got lost? Oh,
They
for
found
heaven's
themselves back at home, but.
Oh my gosh,
No, it
that was too bad.
Because we had no idea there was one time when we were walking and I was in the fall. And they said, well, just a little bit more, I'm sure we'll see, you know, we'll know where we are. but
kind of
we
a
didn't.
lot of fun
And
to
then
do.
finally we got tired and turned around.
Ted says, is there a trail to your house? And I said, well, it goes right to our.
You know what I was up at the barber's, Craftsbury there.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you ever go there and get your hair cut?
We used to, yeah, when he was alive, yeah, they always
had
did
a-
that.
He had a picture on the wall there of these horses in a horsepower, and they were cutting wood.
Yeah, that's just same as this one here.
Yeah, and I had it, and I kept trying to figure out where the heck that was done. And finally I said to myself, it looks to me so that was done with a hall over in Danville, outside. So one day I went over and Mrs. Lamont was in the bank, and I said, I got this picture. You suppose you could tell me if it's somebody, and then, what is his name? It was the president of the bank there, Sheldon Hope.
Oh, yeah?
He said, Sheldon says, I believe I know where that picture was taken. And sure enough, and I took it over, and now it's a Century Farm. As you go toward North Danville,
Yeah?
you turn to the right and go up there, and the fellow sitting on the block is one of the the sons is running the farm now.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So I gave it to him.
Oh, God.
Well, this is all Craftsberry stuff right
Yeah,
there.
this is Craftsberry. You see, this here is Will Graham, and that and there, Will Graham. And I guess that's Will Anderson. And that and there, you see. But this here, I've helped saw wood with a horsepower job. Yep. My Uncle Charlie used to have a horsepower.
You know, the day Babcock had his auction, there was that engine with a drag saw on it, and I bid $10. And then that Harold child says, I'll give 15.
Yeah.
And I stood there for a while, and I said, well, geez, and Crow, I guess I have a heck of a job to get it home. I guess I'd better leave it alone. I wish now I'd take it.
I know it.
I don't know why. It was just as good as new. Gasoline engine today, it would have been worth probably $150, $200.
Sure. I don't know whether it's still there or not, but the last I knew, there was a 1 horsepower, just like this, only 1 horsepower, over here in the old barn, over here at the old farm.
It is?
It used to be, now whether it's still there, in the farther end of the barn, way down the farther end of the barn. Now, and there was a
bad idea to go up and look.
And there was a separator over there too. What I mean, a traction separator. The one that we used to use, Archie Lamundi bought. They used to make them down to Sheldon. And he bought one. Well, that last I knew, that was upstairs in the barn.
Speaking of Sheldon, I've got a bottle down home that I found in the barn when I was tearing it down.
Yeah.
Sheldon Springs Mineral Water. And they say that bottle is worth about $250.
I wish bottles were worth
Springs,
something.
right.
I've got a feeling. Like it,
It's too cool, I think.
But yeah, I remember when they saw it good like that. The horses put the horses up in there. Bye. Don't get lost.
I was kind of disgusted when
I'll
I
pick you out.
didn't go to the auction when Henry Richardson sold out
Oh, yeah.
down there. They had the Charlie Upton made box. And by God, there was a horsepower, or street power, whatever they were.
Probably one of those small.
The churn, the belt, the butter worker, the prints, everything were right there. And my wife, I don't know, she bid $30 and she thought that was too high. I never got it.
I've got an old churn up here. I like the door. It's a crank and a big one, barrel churn. But I like the door.
And I had the churn from Babcock's. I bought that.
Yeah.
And then I had some problem. Oh, I forget what did happen, but I moved the stuff down to a building down in Hardwick, and somebody stole it.
Oh my gosh.
The checkerboard. I took a lot of stuff down there when I sold out the milk bottles. I had a lot of milk bottles. I got about 500 milk bottles now.
Yeah.
Down in the white shed, down back.
I've got a case of pop bars bottles.
I have a few of those.
Yeah, you have a few of those.
Also a few of the cases, the wooden.
Yeah,
boxes.
yeah, I've got 1 or 2.
They were selling all those for $1 a piece just a while back. The wooden boxes that they carry
Yeah.
on.
But bottles, the bottom is gone all out of bottles. Some reason or
Well,
other.
they'll come back again.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. All that stuff
I'd
does.
like to get that
Yeah,
sleigh
I've got
out
some.
in the spring. I got the sleigh that Sam Ladd, Willie made.
Oh, yeah?
The Sam Ladd used to draw the express and the mail back and forth to the baby.
Yeah.
I got that.
I think it's off.
And,
Yes, we've gotta get that set
the
up.
dump cart that Foster Babcock did.
You left at the dump cart? I remember that dump cart. That was a good dump cart, Don.
Good dump cart.
Darn right. You know, I can remember, Donald, trying to buy that. Dad tried to buy that at the time that I took over the road work.
Yeah.
You know, the time I patrolled the work from Greensboro to Crestwood. Dad tried to buy that, the kind of faster than the car.
Now, what's a dump cart?
Well, I got one up here in the barn.
What do you
The
do with
dump
it?
cart used to be an old ox cart, drawn by oxen. And I've seen the oxen that,
Long,
1930s in ways, I suppose.
Must have been a long
It was
hour.
back when I was in high school at least, I think, because it seemed to me that that's where it was a lot more fun to go to those places and learn about the Shakespeare plays it was to read about it, because I couldn't understand that language.
I remember
I'm not
those,
sure.
because there'd be 2 or 3 fellows that dress up as Negroes, and we'd always sit on the in chairs, you know.
Well, you're talking about the minstrel show.
Yeah, the minstrel shows.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember the school
Yeah.
as kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was always the lead man, what did you call him? He was, and then there was always the dumb
Yeah,
wit that,
they always could make jokes back and
Yeah,
forth.
Back and forth, yes, like Amos and
Yeah.
Andy, I suppose.
Remember going clear to Randolph one night to go visit Irwin's minstrel show down there. I think it took us all morning night to get back home again because of tire trouble or something.
Yes.
and then there were the basketball games,
Yeah. it was-
and Hardwick was the one we hated the most.
Oh, yes.
The one we had to beat, and we very seldom
You're
did.
talking about Craftsbury, but it
Oh,
was the
yeah,
same in
Preston.
Greensboro.
Oh, yeah, Hardwick, well, it was the largest school, and they had more to choose from anyway. And
Plus, there was a
so,
lot of competition between Greensboro and Craftsbury, but I think the feeling was stronger with
yeah,
Hardwick.
I think if it came, those two would join together against Hardwick.
Oh,
anytime.
definitely. Here we have a Hardwick resident over here,
Yeah.
ex-Hardwick resident.
That's
Yeah,
all
but
right.
when we come to the town team, I remember about Christmas, to Hardick, we used to rub it to them. I remember we used to beat them once in a while too. Yeah, we did. Take it back when George Piper and Andrew Willie and Robert Willie and John Hyger and
Mr.
we used-
Bogan.
yeah, Mr. Vogan played with us too.
Senator.
I'm beginning to think, I wonder
Oh,
if they ever did any work.
You
With
what?
all these things we used to do, I wonder when they did any work.
The days were longer back then,
Yes.
right?
We didn't have to stop and watch TV between times, they kept going.
That's a biggie. Lots of things we're doing now.
so far to go to work either. They just went out the door.
You want some apple juice or tea or coffee?
But like races, it was a good thing when we used to go to play basketball over Denver, go down, go over on the train,
Yeah,
and then
Yeah.
stay overnight at the hotel over there, and come back the next day.
My goodness, that was really
Go to
playing
Hyde
ball
Park
in
the same
style.
way.
yeah.
In high school,
Yep, go down on the train.
when I got there, they've got beyond that, because I don't remember it
Well, I
going
know.
that way.
I want you to try one of those, because I caught that fish and I smoked it, and I want to see if you don't like it.
It's very delicious.
And have a cookie. Rest of you, help yourselves. You want
I
a
think I
cookie?
have,
You want a
yeah.
cookie?
No, thank you. No, I helped myself plenty.
Plus then Mr. Terrell started with his music. I don't know when that started either, because when we were kids, we used to walk down, down the lane there and listen. But he must have started that in the 30s or before.
Yeah.
Because Bronwyn was just a young girl when she came up, and was I
Came up
think
with it.
her husband, or future husband at that time, was driving to be boating with all these young people from New York that came up to sing, and then he was giving them rides on the lake. That's how she met him.
Well, did some local people go to those concerts?
yeah,
Well,
we used to-
everybody went.
We used to go walking, from our home and just sit outdoors, and some people came by boat. They had, there was a lot of people from there.
My sister worked there. I think they were still doing it then when she was there. That would
It'd be interesting to know when that started.
Because they're continuing with
They
it.
continued, yes, that.
For quite a long
But
time.
he brought in singers, and I think he had an organ too in that one of the big buildings there. And so they did. We didn't go to that though. We didn't see we didn't hear the singers. But they must have had programs for some of the town. Do you remember anything about seeing those singers?
Yes, you got the Riverside Drive
Yeah.
Choir.
Yeah.
You brought them up.
Isn't that how Bronwyn
That's how
got
she-
up
yeah.
here?
That's how she came here.
Yeah. And stayed.
Instead, yes. Well, that was kind of,
But what- did
we
he-
enjoyed that in the summer, we just.
Was the live music on the lake too? No. Did he have
No, you can
microphones
just
or
hear
something? or-
it by the water, you know, you can hear from the distance, you could hear from our house anyway, you don't have to go anywhere.
You
can
could
just
hear
from our house
at
when we
his
walk down.
house.
Yes.
He'd have live entertainment at his house.
Yes,
And then what?
and then,
Kind of an open place to.
yes,
where they
oh,
go
yes.
around. I
a big
remember
open
being
place.
down in there.
Yes. And me,
Okay,
the
it's
water
Ling down
sounds
there.
carry very well, so you can easily hear it from our house.
And then he started the concerts with the record player.
Yeah, later, that
That's
came
much
later.
later. Okay, so it did start off as live music.
Yes.
Because when I first heard about it, went out in the lake, and then we went over to the Landon camp, and I thought there was an orchestra there,
Yeah.
and it turned out to be a record player.
Well, Terrell's was Terrell's the beginning of Landon's?
As far as I know, it was
Terrell's.
Terrell's. Terrell's was the one
Oh,
that
I
did
think
it
so,
first.
yeah.
Yes,
I didn't know
he's
that.
the one that started that.
And then Mr. Terrell's wife used to play the harp in
Yes.
church.
Well, that's right too. That's what I was singing some of that harp somewhere. I forget where it was, been so long, but I do remember that now. She was playing harp in church.
That was certainly the early days anyway, because we were
Yeah.
just little kids at that time, walking down, hearing that on Sunday nights.
Winter, I don't remember skiing at all. When I was young, they didn't have skiing.
We skied at
We
school.
skated.
Long noon hours. We had
We did.
skied up on the back of Hazen,
Well, you
Union
did.
Hazen Road, you know, we'd go up on that bank up back and ski down over the bank.
Toboggan, and then we skated,
kids
and
did.
we
Well,
slid.
playing
We
ski
slid.
with
That's
one
what
loop
we
over your
had.
toe.
That's what we had. We had
We-
those, and they didn't match or anything, didn't make a bit of difference.
We skied because we take a couple old barrel staves
Oh, yes.
and put a strap up over them, stick
Yeah.
our toe into them, and
Yeah.
away we'd go, head
Yeah.
over here.
Oh, yes.
Then you take a barrel stave and put a stick on it and a seat on
Yeah,
it
for
and have a
scooter.
scooter to
Yep.
slide on.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
And I remember writing in the dishpan in the spring of the year when there's frost in a dishpan down, when I boarded at Goodrich's, I'd get up early in the morning and before going to school and go out on the hill down there by Goodrich's. It's like you go round and round with that dishpan. Of course, we're at the dishpan too.
Now, didn't you sometimes used to cross the lake, you drive the car to teach once in a while, but I've often wondered, how'd you get on the lake? Did you do that, or was it
No,
just my
no,
head?
she never-
No, you never
I
did
never
drive.
did.
Evelyn Willis used to tell about riding
maybe
across
she's
the
the
lake. I
one.
guess when she was in high
Across the
school,
lake with
they'd come
horses.
across the
Oh,
lake
yeah.
with it.
Drop logs across the lake.
Oh,
Yeah.
you did?
Yeah.
Did you have to wash quite a bit where they were cutting, sawing
No.
ice? No, no. Because
No,
there were
there was no
some that,
cutting
like
then.
Hall
We
went,
ran
his big
them
truck
just-
went right through one time, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, he headed for open water.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
He
but
didn't
you-
know he didn't know where he was going
Yeah.
until
Oh,
he
I
went
see.
down.
Oh.
No, Rob, Rich and I used to draw logs across the lake quite a lot. We
Oh,
drew,
yes.
well, we drew there for Rob's barn, then we drew for some big hemlocks I can remember, and Mr. Drown getting after us because we left them back a little mite too far. Oh, they were,
Yeah.
great big ones.
Big ones.
Donald's dad got after us because, oh boy, there was sons guns to handle,
Yeah, now that barn raising, but that was another thing that we did. Barn raising and corn husking. And we used to make parties out of that.
Yeah, but how many ever went to families?
I don't know, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I too.
Rob's.
Yeah, I went over there
Rob's,
to
you
Rob.
go to Rob's, yeah.
Yeah.
Rob's
Went to the
and,
dance afterwards.
Yeah.
Yep,
Did you get it
Rob's.
put up in a day? No, you can't.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, no, no,
Barn
no,
dance
no.
down? Of course, that's
Oh, yeah.
later on.
They'd have a lot of
barn
the
dances.
timbers cut like a that, you see, and then raise it, that,
Is it the main?
everybody,
It's the
Big
main
Dell came over
structure
and done
of
all the,
yeah,
all the,
do all the
Part that
down.
needs a lot of
down
work.
and
a
cut
lot of
like a
nails.
that and put it,
it,
then,
putting up the big.
Yeah, the big
I went to
chubby
one
trees.
out to, the first one I went to was out that East Crashbury there where Bailey lives now.
Did you remember when Henry McLaughlin, the young boy there, was simmered up there and run out across the top of it? This is all
Yeah,
it
he was
a-
up, he was up.
Oh, the minister's son, wasn't he?
Kind of.
Is that the one, or is
No,
that?
Willie
another one?
McLaughlin.
Willie McLaughlin, he was a.
God,
Daredevil.
God. They'd throw him the rope and
Yeah.
he'd grab it and then
Yeah.
pull it
And
up
no
over.
fear of anything.
All of them had the poles. I can just remember that there, Bailey.
Yeah, Yeah, I'd forgotten about that down Rob, so we went down there. Barn racing.
And then I went down there to Cornhusking once too.
Well, did the women help with the barn raising, or they just
Oh, they
cook?
got the meals. That was a big,
Just wondered.
That must have been a big thing, yeah.
well, it sure was. And
Got together.
Yeah.
Big thing.
they had big,
I don't say-
I don't know whether they were tables
she
or
did
not, or
that.
just boards, but outdoors, you know.
Mhm.
And, oh, it's just like a fair, or, I mean,
A big picnic.
crowd, you know, all the neighborhood came. And, it was wonderful for kids. You had
Oh,
such
yes.
a good time and lots to eat, and got in the way, you know, and got scolded for being where you shouldn't be.
I don't remember the barn raising, but I remember
Kids had a
the
good time
sawing
in
wood.
those days.
And
They had the-
maybe
they
when they did the oats, you know,
Thrashing.
thrashing.
I guess so,
Cutting
you did it
corn.
on less
Yeah.
money anyway.
Cutting corn, I don't remember anybody,
And it was all
but,
family.
Well, there wasn't
Yeah,
too many
that was the
that,
good part.
but the
There
sawing
wasn't
wood
too
was
many
I
that
said
cut
you never
corn.
had
I
any
mean, you know they
babysitters
had
in those
corn.
days.
But I mean, you know they had the silo
They
that,
always were taken.
that cut corn. There wasn't too many of them.
No, not too many.
But
I don't remember
thrashing
that, but
and,
thrashing I remember. We had thrashing day,
Yeah.
yes.
And
Thrashing.
drag saw, wood,
Cut
cutting wood
wood,
with a drag
everybody,
saw.
I mean,
You know what a drag saw is? Well, it's a long blade. That just
Yes.
saws the,
One on each end?
You've seen one, haven't you?
it was hitched up to a motor.
I think so, yeah.
Oh,
Run
One
just
guy
about the
Got
same as
pictures
a
on here.
chainsaw?
up and down saw.
Oh,
Only run this way, like,
Yeah.
my dad, when he bought the sawmill, that was an up and down sawmill.
That was,
When would that be?
when you bought that?
Bought that in 1885, I think. I think it was.
Did you use it very long?
No, he didn't use it too long, and then he finally put in a Ling mill, which they ran for a long time. He put in a cedar, to make cedar shingle. Because at that time, all the camps were all being built in, they wanted cedar shingles for
There's
the
a,
sides.
See, this is a
I
horse-
saw someone making
horsepower.
shingles on
Sorry,
television,
by
was it
horsepower.
just 2 nights ago, yes. They had about hobbies, how
They
one
put
man
their
went around
horses in
buying
there
all
to run
these,
it.
well, bought
And
different
then they had
these
the smaller
gas
one where you
machines
could
or
run with
something, and
just
they
one
one of
horse.
them just ran perfect,
And
it
then
was
they had
made in
one
the
where you could run
1800s.
with a sheet.
And he was
Just
showing
a
how you
sheet
could make
power.
the shingles.
All of that, they used to
Shingle
use
mill.
when they're running the
Pretty
separator. and the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
I think my dad.
I remember over home, we had
Oh,
one
yeah.
there.
Now, was it at the
And the
same
last I
place where
knew,
it is
that-
now?
That horsepower was
Dusty
still
has
there.
his, is that
No,
where-
no, it's set
barn
down.
over
Further
home.
down?
Further down, it's
And,
set across
we
the
run that
river.
for
and
running
then
a
there was
separator like that.
Dam, for water power.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh.
the slabs went out one end, and Bernie must have worked down there some. and-
Well,
Didn't you
no,
work down to
I was
the
one wonder down there for your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only year that we lived in the village.
Yep, there.
That's in the
So where was your
roller,
where was your
you know,
father's
they used
mill?
to
Which
roll
one
the
was that?
big roller things.
I have
They
a
used
nice
to-
painting.
Oh, yes.
I can show you
the
sometime. Mrs.
Right where the mill is now.
In the, right off behind the post office down there?
Yep, yep.
This is
It's Mrs.
in,
Hookins,
all the
did a
buildings at
watercolor
one time.
painting of it, the
She
barn.
did?
Yeah, and all the stacks of lumber and everything.
Yeah.
No, wait.
Yeah, I worked down there, you see
I
where
heard about this,
Elmont
but I
Yeah.
never, saw
went there,
it.
that one, Elmont was there.
Doing that with horses.
That was the
One
first
morning he-
year.
This,
One
two
mo-
horses
one
on
morning he
treadmill.
was pretty
Can you imagine
mad.
Poor horses.
Oh,
They used to
no.
do that with mules a lot, with horses.
Holy Christmas, we were doing milking. And I stuck a pin in the end of my shoe. And I pricked that cow, and that cow went over, knocked him into the car. He jumped up and threw the stool, and it went right through the window. And he went home, all milk all over him.
Yeah.
He was all crossed up, and he was laying in the back on his gun. And the holy Christ, when he got home, Jenny laughed at him when he went in. He was mad than ever. He went right back down to the saw.
Yeah, oh dear.
Who is that now?
Elmont Tate.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I don't remember him, but I know his name a lot.
He, what was it, 2 years ago, I guess he saw me in the village. And he said it was 50 years ago that day that he went to work for Dad.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not been very well. He's
Getting very well.
No.
He's got arthritis.
Yeah.
I think he owned this place. We bought this place from.
Oh, from Almond Type. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
where he
can-
had all those the girls.
I gotta tell you
How
this,
many
darling.
girls did he have? Was it 8
No,
or
don't
7?
tell
I
us.
will
You
tell
told
you.
it once.
There's already
Well, no, we ain't gonna have it on there. Keep it off.
I mean, two of them in my sister's-in-law, that's why I'm so well posted.
These angry big hemorrhoids.
Well, then they lived over, you
Elmont
know,
was
where
turning.
the superintendent now.
I was taking the other slabs, you know.
Didn't they?
You
I
know,
lived in where hers lived now.
the carriage,
upstairs.
you know,
Yeah.
was on
But
the
they
other side
had,
up where the
some
saw
of them
was.
living up there.
And the slab was over here, south.
You mean Richardson?
Yeah.
Did they live there?
No, but Ruth was in the Grange at the same time I
Yeah.
was, and that was many years ago.
I was
So that's where I
on
used to walk and pick her up.
The saw was
I
down.
don't know, I know
It
they
wasn't
did
long.
live there.
It wasn't long.
Hers, for a while, but they're weird.
The Elmont was turning for him. I'd slab one.
I had no idea this is where they had lived. That's probably where they lived when the kids were going to school.
Yeah.
Come on, that's I showed that on my phone and then.
Well, the one I knew the best, I guess, was
Well, they
Ruth.
had a little,
And she's, she's the
raised
oldest.
to trim.
Yeah.
There's Kay and Joyce, then the three younger ones were, was a little sort of division,
Yeah.
a little bit different.
Now, which one married a
I
handsome?
got mad.
Ruth,
Oh, it was Ruth. Oh, so it was her kids I had in school too.
I
Yeah.
just said, darn self.
Herman and, remember the girl's name? Can't remember.
Jackie.
Jackie.
she's up there with her father now.
Oh, she is?
Her daughter's in school.
Is she married or?
She married Dimmick, but that's not really.
How about Herman? Where's he?
I don't know.
But he said.
There's another one too, but I don't know
right
who
up
they are.
then.
Oh, I guess it's right. I just had
I
Herman
could keep
and
up with the matter.
Jackie.
Two things to do.
And then the next, both Kay and Joyce, the next two, both married Lawrence, one at a time.
Really? The same boy? The same man?
Are they married to him, one of them married to
Joyce
himself?
is, Joyce. Kay's remarried, there's up by Lake Willoughby.
I ain't thinking how.
No, it's, no, I helped O'Neill to marry.
Do they still live on
He
the
was
road to
drawing logs
Waterloo?
out of that.
Yeah, they
swamp right
built on the
across
other
from
side of the road, there's a
Watson's.
log cabin in back of the
We
ball
went
field.
across the lake there.
Oh, is that
The
where
one
they
horse
live?
and he had O'Neill's
What about the
drawing.
house?
Do they do it right the other
I
place?
know they finally sold it to two families, I think, from Massachusetts. I don't know that both
I've
families
seen
are
that
still
log
there.
cabin and wondered.
Yeah, that's Lawrence's. He got out his own lumber up on the hill.
Now Ruth, where is Ruth now? I saw her at
She's in
Roger's
the-
funeral.
Barry, I think.
Yeah.
That's where I
She
saw her
works in
last.
the, I think it's a convalescent center, I don't think it's a hospital, she works in one or the other down there.
I had Ruth in school. Well, two of them. And at least Joyce.
Kay's in the middle.
Okay. Well, I don't remember her so much, but I remember.
Kathleen, maybe she was
Kathleen,
then.
Yes. Yep. Well, what else did we do in those days?
I would
Anything?
say you just about covered everything except for working.
Well,
I don't
They
think
worked
too
hard,
many,
too.
yes, I don't think too many people in those days did so much with the boating and the swimming and even fishing. They did some, but not, I don't think they did as much.
well, you went to brook fishing.
we went
A
lake
lot
fishing
because
as we were
the
kids,
fishing
then we
was
quit.
great then.
Yeah.
Bernie
Oh,
remembers
I bet.
about his relatives from Burlington coming up
Oh,
and
good catch,
going
right?
fishing and coming back with, in those days, I guess you could, there was no limit. And they'd come back with a creel.
Well, it was easier from the
There
lake.
was Truman
too.
Orchid, and a black fella that, I used to see Truman Orchid, but he used to fish all the time. And then they take the trout, these square tails down to, sell them to Hardwick to the.
You could sell them then.
Yeah.
Well, it's against the law now.
Oh, it is.
So,
Because
well,
they used to have some at Willie's,
yeah,
well, they
Not
was perch, I guess,
not
perch you
perch,
can
but not
sell.
trout.
Oh, yes.
And I can remember when we were kids and they put a screen down in the Porter Brook down
Oh,
there.
yeah, Bernie remembers that.
And they came up there and we went up 2-3 times, but finally went up one day when they were stricken.
Yeah.
Did you get down in there, pick them right out?
That was suckers, wasn't it, they
No.
called them?
No, they
There
were
was
trout.
a
Square
yeah.
tail.
Trout,
The
steak.
There was a
fish.
sucker.
Oh, the
Yeah.
state was doing it.
Yeah.
But I know in the spring, they, one time,
There used to be a
Hazel
sucker
Road
run.
School, after I got through, I don't know which one, some of my brothers and sisters were there. The whole school went and caught fish there, but the Porter
Yeah.
Brook one year.
Yeah.
I think it was when Bessie Badger
I
was
can
teaching or
remember
something.
when we first came here.
I don't know if that was going
Of course, they drove across that. Lamundi's lived over there then. And I remember Mr. Lamundi coming over and asking Dad, he says, you want to go down to the, what we call a Puddle Brook and get some fish? And Dad says, yes. Well, so he went down, Mr. Lamundi, and they came back. I remember they taking the wash tub and almost filling that wash tub with just these darn trout, big trout.
Oh my
gosh. Just those darn trout.
Yeah, but today's it's no wonder when you think they fish all summer and then they fish all winter.
And people
Well,
come from all over to
From
fish
all
here.
over.
Back when they stripped those trout there, they had a game warden, you see, the patrol brooks there.
Oh, yes.
And there was one old fellow by the name of Collier. That was Jim Collier's father. Jim Collier, he used to carry the nail from...
Oh, Grit?
Yep, from right straight through from Greensboro Bend. You'll see, he scratched me there then.
Well, that would be Cleora's father. Jim Collier, grandfather.
Yeah.
However, what were the rules?
But, and
Since they got a big thing, what were the rules?
anyway, this game warden was there. And I can remember, well, there was two, three fellas out. Well, they're gone now. They was Ted Bailey, and there was Foster Babcock, and yes, they was Roy, my brother. And I forget who. 3 or 4 of them, you see, they'd go down to the brook, and a couple of them would go down the snow and get the game warden to chasing them, and the other,
I see. With
the other 2 fellas, you see, would go in and get some fish.
But they were getting
I remember those.
Yeah, there was a time like when
Way
the cherry
back.
blossoms were in bloom, then
Yeah,
you would get
yeah,
suckers, but if
yeah.
they're suckers, I don't know why anybody would want those. There must have been some way.
Oh,
Well-
sucker, the meat's good, if you only, they're
But
bone,
the-
but they used to salt them.
I can remember when my dad told me about that he went over here where
Who'd Osmond buy from?
Osmond's
Oh,
over here.
Carter.
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 The old
The
Carter
Wallaces
place
before
up
the
here, right
Carters?
up there.
Isn't that the Wallace place too?
Yeah, that's Wallace. Carter lived there. And they used to go down there and get these suckers and put them in large earthen jars, salt them down. And my dad was down there helping Mr. Carter thrash or cut wood or something. And she had some of that. Well, I fixed up just the way they do, well,
Catfish.
dried yeast gravy and like that, don't you know?
Oh, yes.
Salt cod.
And he said it was wonderful. My God.
Yeah, depends on
He
how.
And
said
of
that-
course, the brine more or less softened the
That
bones.
fish was
I mean,
just
it
as
didn't
firm, he said. He
disintegrate
said
the
it was
bones.
very good, my God.
Must have been good for you, get your calcium, wouldn't
That's
you?
right.
Yes.
I know that
Well, just
house
like
up
Santa.
there that Wallace built, it's too bad somebody don't go up and, because all those H&L hinges and thumb latch doors, all in Perron made them all by hand.
Oh, really?
Oh, he made all those by hand.
He made those all by hand.
He did, I didn't know
It
that.
was I was down there to the shop quite a lot. And
Yeah.
He was making them then. And he, later Marjorie had a piece in one of the papers telling about that her father made all those H&L hinges. And I think he did it in the cottage down to the lake there.
Down to the lake.
Down to the lake.
Oh, they still have that one.
Osborne.
In Osborne.
I don't know whether they bought both of them or not.
Well, there's an Osborne cottage on our beach road, is
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
it?
that's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one.
So that's full of those hinges, or that's where he made it?
And he made all, for all the fireplaces, all the shovels and the tongs and all those things. Why,
So that was a blacksmith, or?
yes, he was a blacksmith.
He was a blacksmith in the first
He was
class.
an iron worker.
This is
He
a
was.
Perron?
Yeah.
Down there,
All
down
in
the Willie's
there.
store
That's
on
the
the
Perron.
Okay,
That's
weren't
where the
they,
shop was.
but weren't they woodworkers too?
There were 2 of them.
Well, no, all, Lester was a woodworker.
So they're brothers?
And they were undertakers, cut hair.
Undertakers too, really?
And I got the
That's
chair at
interesting,
home.
isn't it?
They cut hair? I didn't know they cut
Yeah,
hair.
upstairs where they had the,
Now
kept
tell
the
me,
car.
where did they learn to be undertakers in those days? Did they have to go to Boston or somewhere to learn how to do that?
No idea.
And did they embalm people early or not?
I don't think so.
Now, I'd like to know the answer to that.
I don't think they embalmed them in the early days.
I don't believe
I
they
don't
did, but
think
I
they
don't
did at
know.
all. I don't think so, no.
But somebody was telling about how they used to do it right in the homes and
Oh,
then.
yes, I think so.
Maybe the undertakers were the people who made the coffins, the woodworkers,
I suppose,
Right.
could be.
because that's what they were.
Boy, if they made coffins, I mean, you know.
I don't know if
Take
they
one of them today would be worth, if you
I
could
think
get a
they
hold
did.
of one of them.
What, didn't they
dig it up.
live in Ruth McLeod's house? Isn't that where
That
they,
was
One
Lester-
of them,
Lester-
Lester.
Lester.
isn't that where they had the coffins or something?
No,
No.
that was right up over, they, had, a big, it was a, I got the picture of it at home. It was a big building, 2-story.
Down back to stores.
Behind the
Willie
store.
built the first part of it.
He did?
That was his woodworking shop.
Oh, yeah?
And then, the Perrons bought it and then they enlarged it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen Lester Alden Perron good many times when they build a buggy wagon,
Yeah.
paint it, and put stripes on the side of it and on the spokes. And
Put stripes too.
Put it down there, and his old hand was coming down there just straight as a string. No, I spent most of my time down there.
Well, they
was right
were,
nearby.
both of them, they were wonderful.
No, doesn't one of their daughters still alive in
Craftsman.
Burlington or
Yeah, Marjorie.
Marjorie Perron?
No, thank you.
No, no,
Thank you.
thank
It's
you,
very
that's fine,
good.
very good, yes.
Sorry to say yes. But, in fact, Everett Perron, they built a buggy, a wagon, and double decker and spring seat and everything when he was living over here where Nancy Boyd now lives. You remember when he was there?
Yeah. Well, they didn't make,
And they make rollers. I've seen them.
The snow.
bobsleds, I remember them making the bobsleds for Dad. And, it was a beautiful thing. Didn't cost, Dad furnished he got the 2 runners out, because the crook on them, you know. I know it was $50 for the ironwork and everything. Today, don't you know what it cost you? What? Good heavens, you could
This is a
get
big
built
sled
one
that
like
horses pull?
Pardon?
This is
Yeah.
a big sled that
Sure,
horses pull.
yeah.
Yeah, everybody had
But
those.
they had
The
sled.
Osborne had some
woodworking
kind
there
of
at
a sled
school,
up
and I
there.
know when
Did you
Erwin
ever
took
see it?
that, had a Travis made, to slide
So
with.
maybe
Yeah.
it was
And he got,
places
they
where
put
they'd
the
all
iron
gone
on the
to
bottom of those
pieces.
runners for it.
Yeah.
But I saw the Osborne.
Well, I've seen him,
surprising was there.
all
They had
in
these
Perry,
little spokes and everything. Roses they
When they got
planted.
ready
Must
to
be
put a
50
tire
rose
onto a
bushes last
wheel,
month.
shrink it
Yeah.
on,
I'd like to go there.
he'd go out, he had a little round wheel about that big, and he'd make a mark on it,
I'd have
he'd
to go
walk
out on
around
the stair,
there, and
Pop up there.
count it,
On a walk.
and then he'd scribble down a little something, and go in and take a big streak of iron, probably about that wide and about that thick with the tire, cut it off, and then put it through that roller to make it
Make it
round.
round.
And then he'd make a couple of dots on it where he wanted it to heal together. So, well, braze or whatever he did, like, put it in that, and I pumped that forge a good many times.
Yeah.
And I went down by when they tore down the building, and that big bellows laid out there on the lawn, about
Yeah.
as big as that. Of course, they later got the one with the crank on it.
Yeah.
That was in that little coop that was on the back end of the, and I said to Karen, I said, "What are you gonna do now? We're gonna throw it away." And I said, "All right, I'll be back and get it." I went down home, down to the other place there. In the meantime, I got distracted, and when I went back, it was gone.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
But I talked with out in the pier, and he's got one over here just like it.
Probably this one over
And it was
here.
down in the brook, down on the, somewhere on the brook, there was
No,
like,
I bet you that come out of the, George Rogers' father, you know, used to have a shop right over here down there.
yeah,
And he had one in there, I can remember. Because he had the shop from where the house was. The shop was out front here, while the buildings are gone now. Now I bet you that was George Rogers' father. The one that had one. I know he had one.
I always got it over there, and he said he would give it to the historical.
I'll bet you anything it come out of that.
Gosh, we're gonna have that filled up in no time.
I know, gotta make the doors bigger.
They're working downstairs now, aren't they? They were at
know.
the town meeting. Well, when we came back from the town meeting, I stopped and asked them if they were making cement since they're downstairs.
Well, this is, they cut
When you
into
came
the
from
base of
Rock,
the
no.
safe, and they're
That's the
gonna
new
put some
one.
storage space in there.
That's
and
That's what they were
have a
working
room
on.
downstairs for listers to work or something.
I didn't
That
have
was-
it in
has
place,
been
put it
mentioned.
in it, so, and
Yeah.
you want
So
to know if
there,
you
but
could
it
borrow.
was on-
But that's under that corner where the
Pay for it
contract.
when I went and got it. I don't know how many years you did that.
I haven't been down
Used
since
it,
they
you
put
know,
in
that Ben's
cement.
how you did them there. That's actually, you know, went from the shop up to
Looked at it, it was nice.
the little barn
Yeah.
where you
Lots of
had it
room.
there. You had it up there. Gosh, yeah. They were two wonderful men, those two fellows there. Gosh,
They made a great impact on this town, didn't they? Why did they ever learn? Did they just learn by doing?
They worked with their father.
Oh, their father, where
Their
did he
father-
learn?
Lester told me, well, there's a house up nearby, up towards Clover, by the big gravel pit. They built that house, and then they built 2 or 3 on that back center road. One down where Carrier now lives, was one of them. And
Carrie?
Paul Carrier.
Oh, up on, oh yes, on that
Yeah.
Cobb School Road there.
Yeah, and then there was another one that, Robert Young lived in there, just about where Genovich, what is his name?
Durnovich?
Durnovich. Somewhere in there was another one that they built. And they put the new part onto the church.
The 2 boys with their father built that?
Yes.
Were they working with their father when they did that addition on the church? Did they
I
work on
think
the
so.
church?
Oh, what edition? Fellowship Hall?
No.
No,
No.
they, well, Donald can tell you just which part of it you